Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you all tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Aliens, UFOs, intruders, ET contact, alien abductions. We are getting into it all tonight with Debra Jordan-Kauble. Yeah, her second appearance. And I will also get to meet her in San Francisco at UFOCon 2023 next month. I'm very, very excited. Dirty Filth is here with another cartoon, and all of you are here as well. Let's say hello to all of you. We got Race Fan in the gold medal position. Too Far Gone from Earth, taking home a rare silver. Penny Van with the bronze medal tonight. Hi, Logan L. Hi, how are you? And Roy Boy, Michael Morris, and Brown Dwarf. Good to see you all. Brad Ford, Les Paul Holland, and Obi Flett. Thanks for coming on in. Crystal J, DC, Penny Van, and from Stockholm, Sweden, wearing Grant Fuhr's old number 31, Lars Jansson, starting in goal tonight. He's got a 9.26 goals against average. Not very good this year. No, not very good. Pixie Lara, thanks for coming on in. Thin Lizzie, how are you? Luscious Jules, good to see you. Sovereign Farts, always a pleasure. Sovereign Farts will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Let's continue on here and see. We got our man Millennium, Mac Geek, how are you? Thomas Fessler from Disclosure Tonight, right before us. Thank you so much for kicking off the Super Chat tonight, Thomas. Very much appreciate that. And all of our audience, I really do recommend that if you want the latest and greatest on UFO news, head to Disclosure Tonight on, just type in Thomas Fessler on YouTube. It'll go right to his channel, and you get high-quality information there. You really, really do. So stick with it, Tom. Good job. W. David Page, thank you for joining us. Hi, Rugged Source. What's up? Glenn John McEnroe, the pride of Wimbledon. Good to see you. Digger Dog. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Hi, Robert Lamoth. Nice to see you. Eminem, Cecil, how you doing, buddy? Monica and Judy Wheeler, good to have you both here. Vaughn Patrick, thanks for coming on in. Ace May, welcome to SOR Chat. And War Criminal, Nancy Thames, nice to have you here. Midnight Sasquatchers, how you doing? Mothwing, good to see you. Little Katie, welcome. How are you? And Brooke Sharp is here. Brooke will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Rhonda Montpetit, how are you? Thanks for joining us. It's been a while. Richard Minnick and Beachy and Mark Ellens, good to see you all. And who else? Sir Pent, still love your name, my man. Aardvark Electron, welcome to SOR Chat. I am Pam. Exactly, right there. Aardvark's first time in the chat room, but already knows that I am Pam. Love it. Linda Bennett, Penman, good to see you. Guy Calgary, how are you? TMI, nice to see you. Hi, Tim Mothman. Good to have you here as we continue on with Roll Call. And there's Candy Wolf. Give us a wave. She'll always wave back. And let's see, who else? Jessica. Good to see you. All right. Let's get the radio side going because we got to make sure that Bill WD-40 can enter the Spreaker chat room and then lube us up for tonight's show, because you always want to go into a show smooth. LGG, good to have you here, my man. Paramarv, nice to see you. Once again, I will be at UFOCon 2023 in San Francisco, March 17th through 19th. Our guest tonight, Deb Jordan-Kauble, will be there as well, along with Science Bob, Melinda Leslie, Sev Talk, Lorian Fenton. We want to see you all there. You can get your tickets at UFOCon2023.com. And then, of course, Las Vegas in May. Who's coming? At the Golden Nugget, May 19th through 21st for the second annual Spaced Out Radio fan party. We want to see you all there. You go to info@spacedoutradio.com. You can get your tickets, VIP tickets, finish on April 1st. So if you're going to be a VIP, make sure you get your tickets in. Justin Shapker, your hair looks fantastic. Friend of Squirrel, how are you? At Bobo, good to see you. Phil Minervino, thanks for coming on in. Horns up. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Odyssey Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find us on our website. Tonight, we are going deep into alien contact, the intruders who take us at night. Author, researcher Debra Jordan-Kauble is here. We'll bring her in momentarily. Then in hour number 3, we're going to head to the swamp. Swamp Dweller has another spooky story for us. And then Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio will join us for the Cryptid Report. Let's get to it, shall we? Debra Jordan-Kauble was the central figure in Budd Hopkins' international bestseller, Intruders, The Incredible Visitations at Copley Woods. In 1992, Hopkins' book was made into a CBS miniseries of the same name. In 1994, Deb co-authored with her sister Kathy, Abducted, The Story of the Intruders Continues. In August of 2021, Deb's second book, Extraordinary Contact, Life Beyond Intruders, was published. She is a former Indiana MUFON investigator. She co-founded her own paranormal group, Paranormal Underground, and along with co-founder Greg Cable, hosted the Midwest Paratalk podcast. Now, Deb is happily retired, and she is a Red Cross volunteer. She's a wife, mother, grandmother, and now a great-grandmother, but she still loves her aliens. Yeah, you can never, once you go aliens, you can never go back. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But Deb Kauble, it's her second time on Spaced Out Radio here, and we say thank you so much for coming back on. How have you been?
Been good, thank you. Staying busy, trying to get my retirement feet on the ground. You know, it's a different thing after you've worked your whole life. So, but I'm figuring it out. I'm to the point now where I think, how did I ever work a full-time job for all these years? Because I have so much stuff to do now. And I get to spend time with the grandkids. That's always great.
And now you're a great grandmother.
Yes.
Which is cool.
It's my step grandson. So, you know, but he was born 2 weeks after my husband and I got married. So, and now he is a father, and she's just beautiful, and I can't help it.
My grandson, he's 2 months old, and I'm so excited because I get to see him this weekend.
Oh,
and and I haven't seen him since the day he was born, or a couple days after he was born. And so I am just so pumped up. Thank God for FaceTime.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah,
thank God
definitely.
for FaceTime, because every day my daughter will FaceTime me in the morning. So I get to say good morning to my grandson.
Oh,
And it is just the most heartwarming thing that it melts me. That kid's already got me wrapped.
when I became a mother, I thought that was it. That's all I ever wanted in life. But being a grandma is like next level.
Oh,
It's all the fun with none of the responsibility.
oh, I hear you. I hear you. You know, I'm very excited to get to meet you at UFO Con 2023 in San
Mhm.
Francisco in just about 3.5, 4 weeks from now. It's an exciting time. This will be my fourth time down to San Francisco for Lori and Fenton's event. And I will tell you, it is a great time. And the one thing that I love is meeting people such as yourself. And I'm very excited. What are you going to be speaking of down there?
Well, I don't do this very often, so I'm excited and nervous. But I'll introduce myself to folks who don't know who I am because, intruders happened. The incident that was written about was 40 years ago, so it's been a while. So I'll go over that, but then I want to share with people how my life has been since then, and when my sister and I wrote Abducted shortly after Intruders came out, the main goal of that was just to tell our story in the first person, instead of Budd telling it as an investigator. But since then, I've had more strange things happen, not on the level of June 30, 83, and a lot of changes happened in me, and a lot of weird things have happened in my life outside of paranormal UFO stuff that seem to all, I don't know, come together. And I just wanted to I'll be sharing with people there. I'm going to bring some slides, and I'm not a professional, and I just now learned how to do PowerPoint, so I hope it works. But I'll be bringing some pictures, of the original incident that is the focal point of Intruders, and then some new pictures that other people that nobody's seen before, um, of the place now, and just some drawings that I've done, and I'll just be, kind of just sharing how my life has been since Intruders. It's been a long time, but I'm still here and kicking.
Are you still being abducted?
Um, I haven't had an experience like that I would consider or think about as an abduction since probably 1992 or 93. That's not to say that things haven't happened, but I think it's gone to a different kind of level. I started having more lucid dreams and uh, more of what people would call paranormal activity. And that's one of the reasons I got involved in the paranormal side of the whole uh, unusual phenomenon. We always had paranormal stuff happen to us. I thought everybody had it happen to them. Actually, I thought it was part of life. And then when I started to remember all the other UFO related stuff, and then met Budd and all that um, came out into the public. One of the ways that I deal with things that make me nervous or afraid is I try to learn everything about it. So that's why I went and became an investigator for MUFON, because I was trying to figure out my own stuff, and I wanted to learn more about it, and then I wanted to help other people. Well, we had paranormal activity, and I noticed as a researcher, as an investigator for MUFON, that was a kind of a common thread among a lot of the cases that I was on, that the people that had these experiences were also having these kind of little paranormal things. So that's how I got kind of steered into that, you know, area. And I'll just share all that with people when I do my talk.
Right. Right. For people who may not be familiar with your story, let's go back in time, because I mean, most people in this field have heard of Budd Hopkins,
Mhm.
but they may not be familiar with your story. So if you could give us like a 5-10 minute synopsis of
Mhm.
what happened to you and your family, that would be wonderful.
Well, I was living with my parents at the time. I had moved back home, and I had with 2 little kids, and an event happened in my mom and dad's backyard one night on June 30th, 1983. Um, I had been gone to a neighbor's to cut out patterns, and we had noticed a strange light in the backyard prior to me leaving, in the pump house of the swimming pool. And I went ahead, and my mom felt comfortable enough to let me go. My dad was at work, second shift. So I left, but as soon as I got to the house, the street behind us, she called and wanted me to come back home, because later she told me she'd seen a basketball sized ball of light around the bird feeder behind the house and by the kitchen window. So I came back home. Um, I'm thinking burglars. Dad had a big workshop back behind the swimming pool that had like motorcycles and all kinds of things in it. So I was concerned that there were prowlers around there. So I got back to the house, and I looked around the yard, and I didn't see anything. I noticed that the garage door was open. The pedestrian door to the garage was open, that was attached to the house. And the house was a tri-level, sandstone tri-level. And so I went in there. When I got back to the house, I had picked up my dad's shotgun. It was not loaded, but like I told mom, I figured whoever was out there wouldn't know it till I got close enough to hit him with it. So, um, so anyway, I go into the garage with the shotgun. I'm looking for a burglar. Didn't see any, but I suddenly felt like I was on fire. And I had the thought in my head, "Oh my God, I got to get out of here." Uh, and I started to run through the pedestrian door out the garage, and I was hit with this light, and started in my chest area and spread through my whole body. It blinded me. It was so bright. I know my eyes were closed, but I could still see it. And I was vibrating, shaking to the point where it felt like I was coming apart. And I felt something pull on my shoulder, and I heard a voice say it was unfortunate that I had to feel pain. Then the vibrating stopped, the light got dimmer, but I suddenly realized I was no longer in the doorway. I was out on the concrete patio. And at that point, I could see people, which I thought were like little kids, out moving around in the yard in front of me. And they all kind of just slid together and kind of glided down in front of me. And then um, at some point, I felt like somebody stuck something in my ear. And in my mind, I imagined like a hot poker or a knitting needle, hot. And I couldn't move, couldn't scream. My vision was all splotchy at this point. So I could see these kids moving around in the yard, but I couldn't see a lot of detail because I had these big white splotches in my vision. And then as they moved in front of me is when I saw this thing. We call it a craft, and in retrospect, I don't see how anybody could fly anywhere in this thing. It wasn't much bigger than the pump house swimming pool. It was egg shaped. It was off to my left, and there was a basketball sized ball of white light in front of it that was softer. And I remember at one point thinking, "Oh my God, my kids!" And that voice came back and said, "Your kids are okay." Then I heard my name being called. And as soon as I did, it was like someone snapped their fingers and I could move. And I turned and walked up to the back of the house, up the steps to the back kitchen. And my mom was in the doorway, and she asked me if everything's all right. And I said, "Yeah, everything's cool." But instead of going back to sew, my friend came over with her daughter, and we got in the swimming pool, walked across the yard, and her daughter stepped on something that she said felt like hers was stinging on her foot as we walked across the backyard, which ended up being the area that left the mark in the yard. So anyway, we're in the pool for 10, 15 minutes, and we all start getting sick, and my vision gets really bad. I start getting like white halos around lights, and my eyes were hurting, and they went home, and I went to bed. When I woke up the next morning, I couldn't see. My eyes were swelled shut. So mom took me to the emergency room, and I was then from there taken to an eye specialist office across the street, who first asked me if I had looked into the arc of a welder's torch, which made no sense to me. When I was there that next morning, I didn't remember the white light and the bright, intense light and anything that had happened, because that memory went away as soon as I heard my name. So, but a couple days later, we're all outside in the backyard. The kids are out in the yard, and they call us to come out. And there's this mark in the yard that's about an 8-foot circle with a 49-foot streak coming off one side that went all the way, span the whole span of the backyard between the house and the swimming pool. And my mom looks at it and says, "Oh, that's where our UFO landed the other night." And that freaked me out at first. And as I was looking at the mark in the yard and looking at her as she was nervously giggling, I started to remember the light and the kids in the yard and that egg-shaped thing. And from that point on, I just spiraled. I feel like I had a nervous breakdown. My eyes were never the same. I was diagnosed with macular degeneration and cataracts in my late 30s. And I always blame that, although I can't prove it. And I had to have my lenses and my eyes replaced by the time I hit 50. And I got sick. The dog that had been out there with me that night, she got sick and she ended up being put down. And I had picked up Budd Hopkins' book, Missing Time, several months before in the library. I could never finish it because I kept having a panic attack every time I tried to read a little bit of it. But I did remember that there was an address in the back that you could write to this guy if you thought that you'd had one of these experiences. And I felt compelled. So many memories started coming back, not just of that night, but of things from my past. And I felt compelled to go back to the library and write to him. And I did, and he responded. And 2 or 3 years later, after his investigating, he wrote the book. We didn't want him to write a book about it at the time when he first approached us about writing a book. We're like, "Nah, that's okay. We're good." I just wanted help trying to sort out what was going on, But eventually he convinced us that there were thousands and thousands of people out there like us, and it would help other people. And he thought it was an important story that needed to come out. So my family and all we took a vote, and we all agreed that, he could write the book. So anyways, and that's what the Intruders, Budd Hopkins' book Intruders, is based around, that June 30th, 1983 incident.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I mean, the fact that you were able to get recall on your situation, I mean, how much of that entire incident have you been able to put together?
I still don't recall most of it. I would say I probably remember maybe 10 minutes of it. And Budd, between talking to the neighbors, my mother, and then the people whose house I was at when I left there, he figures that it was probably about an hour and 15-minute long, or an hour and 30-minute long of missing time that I don't remember, the period of time. But I only still to this day maybe remember 10 minutes of it. All of it came back spontaneously as soon as I saw the mark in the yard. And then I had one hypnosis session with Budd after when he came to Indiana, I think it was the first time he came to Indiana. And I remembered a little bit more, but not very much. And so, yeah, I still don't. And honestly, I'm good. I figure I've gotten this far without remembering a lot of stuff. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
For me as an experiencer as well, that isn't good enough for me. Yeah. Because I have this, I started a radio show over over my experiences because I didn't know where to look for answers. And, I know that I'm not going to get them. I'm
Hmm.
not satisfied with that answer. I think I'm prepared for what is to come. I know I've had some good experiences and I know I've had some very ugly experiences. And I mean, I know I'm going to have to take the good with the bad. Have you ever gone under hypnosis in order to figure out what happened to you? Or is this just something that you have kind of just come to terms with?
I have had I have had a few hypnosis sessions. I had one with Dr. Clamar, the psychiatrist in New York, when I first went. Nothing came from that. And then I've had a couple. I think I've had about four, maybe 4 or 5 with Budd over the course of 3 years. But you got to remember, this was back in the '80s. Budd was in New York. I was in Indiana. Neither one of us could afford to fly back and forth all that a lot. I sold my washer and dryer to get a bus ticket to go there the first time. There wasn't even Skype or cell phones. Hell, it was a long distance phone call. We did a lot of things by mail and, quick phone calls, but, and I didn't have the resources around me to do a lot of stuff, a lot of hypnotherapy or whatever, but, I did have some. I did recall a few things. That's one of the reasons why I got involved with MUFON. I I wanted to learn more about it. I was trying to figure out what was going on with me and with our yard and everything, even before Bud came in the picture. I could find people that could tell me what it wasn't, what wouldn't make the mark in the yard, what wouldn't melt the lines, you know what I mean? What would damage my eyes, but I couldn't find anybody to tell me what did cause that in the yard. I called the agricultural agent for the state of Indiana at Purdue. We called the gas company. The electric company had to come out and replace the transformer. My dad was out there grilling them about stuff. So I figured if when I joined MUFON, I could get answers not just for myself, but for other people. You know, I'm 64 years old now, and I've accepted the fact I'm not going to get answers. And like I said, I'm okay with that because I've managed to function okay. Earlier on, I didn't function well. I felt like I had a nervous breakdown after June 30th, 1983. And I'm thankful that my parents were there to help me through that. But, and I had a lot of physical sickness afterwards, but I got through it. And, I guess I've just kind of accepted the fact that I'm probably not going to get all the answers I want. And, it is what it is.
Is that frustrating?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, that's frustrating with anything in life, that you would like to have and can't. So, I mean, I hope in my lifetime before I go that at least we'll get some validation from, the governments of the world, and they'll say this stuff is really here. You know what I mean? I feel like we're kind of getting that way a little bit, but I don't have a lot of hope for that either.
Right. That's probably one of the big frustrating things for me as well is just having these bits and pieces. Whether it's a 30-second clip or whether it's a 10-minute clip of what's happened. Because I don't know about you, but I tend to struggle at times with, was that just a dream? Did that
Oh,
really happen? It
uh-huh.
drives me nuts. The only way
Mhm.
that I can answer it for myself is I don't remember my dreams at night, but I can sure always seem to remember when aliens are there.
You know, I feel you on that. I do. And
Hold
I
that hold
okay.
that thought because we do have to go to break here at the bottom of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio. Debra Jordan-Kauble, ET Intruders, Alien Contact, ET Abductions. It's all coming up next on the Mighty SOR. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we are clear. And just a reminder to you, our YouTube audience and our podcast audience can hear us. Our radio stations cannot. That was a good first half hour.
Went quick.
Very quick. Very quick.
Sorry if I talk too fast. There's so much.
You're doing great. You are doing absolutely great.
Yep. There you
go. When do you fly into San Francisco?
17th. I arrive at almost midnight on the 17th.
Oh, like you're missing the Friday night.
Yeah. She's flying me in Friday night, and I don't get there until midnight. And then I leave Sunday at 4:30 in the afternoon. I don't get back home until 1:30 in the morning. So it's going to be some crazy travel. This is the only flights that she could get. So,
Right. I arrive at I land at 12:05 on Friday afternoon. And then I'm leaving Monday morning. So that'll be okay. And then once I landed in Vancouver, then I have a 6-hour drive home.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm about an hour and a half from the airport to my house here.
Oh, that's nice.
I fly out of Indianapolis International, but I'm up in Kokomo. So
yeah, I have so when I finish my radio show on that Thursday night, I will literally hop in my vehicle and drive down to Vancouver.
Wow. It's going to be a long day.
Then I will sleep on the plane. Because I'm one of those people who can sleep on a plane. I will sleep on the plane and then hop on that. I think I take off at like 9:30 or 2-hour 15-minute flight or 2-hour 20-minute flight. That's good enough for sleeping.
I don't really sleep on flights very well though, because I'm kind of nervous about flying, but
You've been on UFOs. There's no reason for you to be.
I am nervous about flying. I don't like to fly. I do it. I don't let it stop me. But
the only thing that bugs me about sleeping on an airplane is the fact that I know I snore, and I feel really bad for the people around me. So I have to tell the people, look, if I stop snoring, just hit me. Or if I start snoring, just
How long does it take to fly from where you're at to San Francisco?
Oh, 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh, that's not terribly bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to have 8 hours of travel time. 5.5 hours going home, but 8 hours coming in.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, well, it is what it is. I'm just grateful to be able to come.
I'm excited.
Yeah. You said I remembered Sev is going to be there. She's my Facebook friend, so that'll be nice too.
So for all of you out there who are talking weather in the chat room, outside SOR studios right now, it is minus 15 degrees Celsius, which is about, what's that in Fahrenheit? Let's check. Celsius Fahrenheit, minus 15. 5 degrees Fahrenheit, and day 9 in a row of snow. We're now up to about 3 feet in the backyard, 3 feet in the back area. So the snow continues, going to continue through tomorrow. Mr. Eon, the voice of the gods, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Yes, Mr. Eon has a great idea. There's 201 people watching right now. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or down. It really helps with our algorithms. So we really appreciate it. And if you could leave a comment after the show we'd really appreciate it as well. Jeff Steve Garvey, I know you'll hit a home run for me. How you doing tonight? And don't forget UFOCon 2023 in San Francisco that Deb and I were just talking about. You could go get tickets at UFOCon2023.com. You use the promo code SPKR23, and it'll be able to get you tickets cheaper. Lamuan Fung Fet, welcome to SOR Chat. And here we go, everyone. We got 3 seconds. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. You can check us out on all podcast formats from Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, Google Play, and every podcast format out there. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. All right, we continue on talking ET contact, alien abductions. Author, researcher Debra Jordan-Kauble is here tonight talking about the Intruders. And right before the break, Deb, I was telling you about one of my stories about just how it feels, where you feel vulnerable. You feel like it's a dream. You feel that it's hard to tell whether or not it's a dream or not. And unfortunately, due to the break, we had to cut you off there. So I'll get you to restart kind of your thoughts about the whole dream aspect.
Yeah, I like I said before the break, I really feel you when you say that, because I go through that still. I went through that. The incident in June of '83 was different than a lot that you read about, because there was trace physical evidence. There were other witnesses, and there was some evidence on myself and the dogs, as far as our damages, our injuries and stuff. So it wasn't just me out there that night, really. The neighbor across the street and the neighbor next door saw things. Even 20 years later, the neighbor behind had written a letter to Budd that something that had happened that she thought was that night. So it wasn't just me. So that was easier for me to believe that something really physically happened. I mean, the mark in the yard, it stayed there for 2.5 years. Snow melted off of it the first year. There are other big things that happened in my life before that was with other people. There were other people involved with me at the time. But then there are odd things that happened that I was just by myself. And then I'm like you, I'm like, that can't be, this doesn't make any sense. And in the book, both books, I will tell these stories that happen, but I tell you, this is what I think it was, but I'm not sure. I don't know for sure 100%. And I don't know, and I kind of get red flags sometimes when I hear people say they have all the answers and they know everything about where they are from, what they're doing, why they're here, because I've seen things and I still don't know. So the red flags kind of start flying for me, because I doubt myself. I told you, I felt like I had a nervous breakdown after the June 30, '83. I had an entire year of not being able to sleep at night, sitting up in the night, and only being able to sleep when the sun came up, not being able to go in that bathroom that overlooked the mark in the yard, because I felt like something was going to pull me out of the house through the window, crazy stuff. And that made me doubt it. When Budd took me to be tested, I had psychological I had a CAT scan, or I had an x-ray of my head. I think it was a CAT scan. I had dye. I had an EEG. I had verbal and written psychological testing done in New York at the hospital. And I remember telling the doctor, it's okay if I'm crazy. If you tell, it's all right if you tell me I'm crazy, because I know they make pills for that, and that'll make this stop. But I wasn't crazy. They tested me. But so, and the funny thing happened during one of Bud's visits, and I had drawn pictures of what I remembered seeing in my bedroom back in 78, and the face that I remembered in 83, the alien face. I had drawn a picture for him. And when he came, he brought this picture and he put it down on my mom's table in the dining room, or in the kitchen. And he said, "What do you think about, what do you think when you see this?" And I freaked out because I thought it was my drawing. And I'm like, "How did you get my drawing?" And because I hadn't given it to him, he said that's not your drawing. That is it was a lady named McBride, and I think she was in Ohio, and I think it was drawn in the 70s. I had never seen it before, and it looked so much like my drawing that I thought it was mine at first, and it scared me. And I remember running upstairs and puking because I had always kind of convinced myself, well, maybe you're just, maybe you dreamed this, maybe it's not real. And then when I saw this drawing this other woman made of something that nobody knew about, that was still in my head, I thought there was no way I could, the only way that this woman could have drawn this was either to get in my head and know what I saw, or saw it herself, and it screwed up my way of trying to compartmentalize this stuff and put it away. But anyway, so I completely feel you on, I still have, and you said something about dreams. I do dream, but I don't remember them usually when I wake up. If I even remember that I had a dream, it's like, oh, I had this dream. And then, an hour later, it's completely gone. I don't remember nothing. But I have these other kinds of dreams, and they are different. The more awake I am, the more of that I remember. And they're like imprinted in my soul forever, the memory of this dream. And it's like a lucid dream. It's different. It's color. It's 3 dimensions. I'm in it. I'm not watching it. I'm in it. It's a different kind of dream than a regular dream. And for a long time, I had these dreams, and now I'm beginning to realize, or at least this is my feeling for myself anyway. I feel like those lucid dreams are actually a different kind of an experience. So when I say I'm not having the physical things like June 30th, 83 or 78 when I was first married, or when I was a teenager back in the late 70s, it's not there's not physical contact anymore, but I feel like these dreams that I have that are like these once in a while, there's some kind of contact. It's just different. It's a different level of contact. Thinking the physical is no longer necessary. That's just my opinion, though, for myself. I can only speak for my own experiences and my own, feelings and opinions. So
the idea that, this is not only happening to you, but you have talked to a number of other people who have had contact one way or another with extraterrestrials or UFOs. What similarities have you noticed between contactees?
They all seem to have, I almost feel like you have this extra sense. Like sometimes I feel like I got rewired up in my head, and I have like these extra senses about people and things. And a lot of people that I meet that have had this kind of contact also kind of feel like they have these, like this, something is opened up in their mind, and that they are more aware. People report different kinds of aliens and stuff. So I see all different kinds of descriptions of what the aliens look like, or the ship look like, or whatever, I personally feel like some of what I'm having contact with or what I've had contact with isn't necessarily extraterrestrial. I feel more like I lean more towards uh, extra dimensional, even with the thing that left the mark in the yard. And because there were 6 little kids in the yard, 6 things that were the size of little kids, and this egg-shaped thing wasn't much bigger than the pump house. And in retrospect, thinking back, there's no way that 6 of those little guys could even go in that thing and fly anywhere. I don't know what that thing was, and I don't know where it came from or where it went or how they all got in there, so I'm feeling like what I'm dealing with or what I've dealt with might be more um, interdimensional or and even some of the EVPs that I've captured as a paranormal researcher, I don't feel like they're ghosts that I've captured. I had an epiphany one time while listening to an EVP. The EVP said, "Are the spirits listening?" And I thought, oh my goodness, I am a spirit somewhere else, and somebody is hearing me have this conversation with snippets of me with my nephew having this conversation, And so, but that kind of thinking, I find that in people. I meet a lot of people like me. That might be kind of scary, but I've met a lot of people like me over the years that have this kind of self-doubt but some kind of an awakening inside intellectually and just and almost spiritually in a way. And I'm not religious, don't take that the wrong way, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
I find that a lot. I meet that a lot.
Do you ever notice that the people who you were talking to are having the same encounters with the same type of extraterrestrials that you had?
Um, I meet more of them. I do know people, and I have friends that have had what they call the reptilian contact with some reptilian types or whatever. I've not ever had that. And the funny thing is, my older sister, who had an experience in 1965 that she always talked about, that we just kind of, took it as, I grew up with it, so I thought it was normal, because she's 11 years older than me. Hers was bigger, more mantis looking, looked like a gray, but kind of a morph of a mantis gray mixed, tall and slender. I never saw anything like that. Mine were always the little gray, the small gray things, or humans, look like humans. And it seems like most of the people that I meet have seen the same kind. It's just like we all kind of gravitate towards one another, and it's almost like I can almost sense it when I'm around someone if they're like me, without them even saying much, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like radar.
Oh, yeah. And do you have a sense of to know when they are coming around?
I did. I used to be able to, maybe it's just because I don't think they've been around much, but yes, I used to be able to feel the air felt different. It almost felt like I would feel a static swirl around me. Like, what it feels like when you have a static charge in your arm, the hair on your arm stands up like static electricity.
Yes.
I would feel that, and I would hear a really high pitch of beeping sound in my head, kind of. Couple times there would be a knock like on the wall in my room right before something started. But yeah, I used to be able to sense that.
See, for me, it was Pink Floyd's "Is There Anybody Out There?" That used to haunt me. And I knew within either that day or within a couple of days that I'd be going on a trip. And it used to trip me out a little bit. No pun intended. But I mean, it's amazing how many people get their triggers.
Mm-hmm.
and these triggers just seem to be highly accurate for some reason. I do want to ask, the fact that you have had contact with these little gray beings, did they ever let you feel them or touch them or get close to them?
What I remember feeling one time when he took my hand, and it felt like, well, I take that back. I have touched a dolphin when we were kids in Florida, and we went to that thing that has all the fish and the dolphin show and everything. And it felt like smooth, slick, cool, felt like that. Felt like dolphin
Rubbery.
skin. Yeah.
Very rubbery, like a silicone or something like that. Like you go to the dollar store and you buy those silicone stretchy toys for kids.
The Stretch Armstrong, my kids used to have one. They busted it all over the living room floor.
Oh no, your shag carpet must have been really hurt back then, like my mother's was. Oh yeah, I remember having a Stretch Armstrong. Yeah, I had it until I was like 19 or 20 years old, and my buddy had a few too many, and he's like, "Oh, let's see how far we can stretch this," and ripped the arm off. I was so upset with that, so upset. But ET contact is something that for a lot of people is a laughable subject. We always hear the stories about people laughing at the old Whitley Strieber anal probing. I mean, South Park is famous for doing their first ever episode with Eric Cartman being an abductee with the visitors, but that was loosely based on Whitley Strieber and communion. I mean, this is a subject where it's easy to ridicule, except if you're the one who's actually being taken. How have you noticed a change in people regarding this subject as more people start to come out and get brave about talking about their own experiences?
Well, I'll tell you, it is far sight different than it was 40 years ago. It has a long way to go, but 40 years ago, we had people come to the house and messing around out in the backyard before Intruders was even written. So it really wasn't widely known, mainstream known. And so one of the stipulations that we had with Budd, and Budd agreed, was that everything would be a pseudonym. All our names were pseudonym. Even the place was a pseudonym. Copley Woods does not exist. It's a pseudonym. And that was to protect ourselves, and to protect my kids. I didn't want my kids having to deal with the repercussions of the kid when they got older in school and finding out their mom, had this experience and then getting picked on. They also had strange things happen when they were little boys that they had no control over, and we made it a rule not to talk about it around them because we didn't want them to scare them anymore. And they were already scared. And if they ever wanted to explore this as adults, we didn't want to feel like they would be contaminated, their subconscious by hearing things around the house. So we just had a rule. We didn't talk about it where they could hear. But, for years I went to work and nobody knew who I was or anything about this. And then in the 90s, when I started talking a little bit about it, and my sister and I wrote our own book and used our real name, which I did because I felt like, okay, if I'm going to tell my story first person and I'm going to expect people to listen to me, if I'm not even going to use my real name, how can I expect people to believe anything I say? Not that I'm trying to make anybody believe anything. You can believe it or not. I understand if you don't, that's fine. But I felt like I had to own it to really share it in my own words, and people gradually figured it out and found out about it. And it really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be by then. By the late 90s, the black helicopters were flying around my store when I worked at the Village Pantry, and the neighbors would actually call me and ask me if I was okay. because they see him flying around to check on me. So the people who knew me and friends and family who knew me and our family and our situation were supportive. I was fortunate, more fortunate than most people like me, because I did have the support of family and friends and employers, coworkers, because they witnessed weird things. And sometimes they had weird things happen to them after they hung around with us. So, I was lucky. Now, right before I retired and people called me the UFO lady at work, Ancient Aliens would come on and they'd be talking about the episode. I remember one time a guy said, "Do you believe in aliens?" And he didn't know who I was. And I said, "Yeah." Like, I didn't, go into detail. I just said, "Heck yeah." And he starts telling me his experience and things he'd seen. And by the end of the break, the whole break room, everybody in the department in the break room that night was telling about all their weird stuff. And I was thinking in my mind, boy, this wouldn't have happened 30 or 40 years ago. And now you can go to Walmart and buy t-shirts with aliens on them and everything's cool. They're all over TV. And yeah, it's really changed a lot. There's still quite a bit of stigma attached to reporting, especially for military and, pilots and whatnot, but I'm hopeful that may be changing. I'm one of my goals with coming forward and talking and trying is to help people to, learn to live with this strange life, and also to help get rid of the stigma so people feel more comfortable talking about it. I realize that a lot of things I've reported over the years and told other people sound crazy. I know that. And I made a comment to Angelina Joyner one time, who wants to be famous for this? Back in the day, that was certainly not the case, but it's changing, and hopefully as the stigma goes away, more and more people will speak out and start supporting each other, and then maybe we'll get some answers.
We got 2 minutes to go here before we're going to go to break. And you might have to finish this question afterwards. But with everything that's happening in the governmental side of UFOs that we have seen over the last few years, the one thing that really grinds my gears is it seems that they don't want anything to do with the experience. They think it has everything to do with nuts and bolts and propulsion systems and gravitational forces and everything. They don't seem to understand, at least publicly, that there is way more to this phenomena than just whatever builds the craft. What is your thoughts on the way that this subject has really been pulled away from the experiencers, almost like we are, infected with some sort of alien disease that isn't supposed to be talked about?
I feel like they know somebody somewhere within those agencies knows. And I feel like that it's something that they can't control. So it's easier to make us just look crazy than to be able to have to admit that there's something going on with our citizenry that we have no control over. And, you see what I mean? So I feel like that they do know. And I think that it's intentional, this pushing us off to the side. Hell, even back then, MUFON was all nuts and bolts back in the 80s, and they wouldn't even take my case when Budd tried to get him to take the case. And we had trace evidence. We had the mark in the yard that tested weird and all kinds of witnesses, and they wouldn't do it. They didn't want to touch it because of me and because of what I remembered seeing out there. So,
Yeah.
but that's going to change. They know. I believe wholeheartedly they know.
And I think that's a good place to leave it. Deb Jordan-Kauble is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have her for another hour here on the show. We're talking ET contact. What is it like to all of a sudden have aliens show up? We'll take audience questions as well in hour number 2 if you're in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. A good first hour. It's going to lead to a good second hour, talking everything to do with ET contact right here on the mighty SOR. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Let's see what Dirty Filth has for us here. What do you got for us, Filthy?
We got Tic Tacs having blatant disregard for posted speed limits.
Oh, my goodness. But you don't have a speed limit sign up there.
Well, it's like Alberta highways. You just kind of,
You just
guess as
kinda
you're
go.
going.
I hear what you're saying. I'll be right back. Deb, I'm going to put you in the green room here, so you just stay comfy. And Dirty, you can tell everybody about Vegas, about your book, about your calendar.
My web feet, Dave. Yes, if you go to filthy.com, FYLTHY.com, you can scoop my book, calendar. There's prints there. Currently working on my second book. That should be out hopefully in the summertime. Or you can come to Las Vegas, the Spaced Out Radio fan party, and I'll just be handing out cartoons to whoever can find me. Super Duke. I promised. Excuse me. Promise Kira next time there will be a shark. I actually mailed Dave a plushie shark one time. Just so he'd open it up, and he probably screamed. And then Mrs. SOR was like, "What the hell's doing? Has anyone ever drew something for me?" No, but I did trade Mark Sanchez drawing for some of his they're stickers, but I have them up above my drawing station. So publication process. Pixie, I use Kindle direct printing, and I actually have my pal, my web witch, Fabala, does all the fancy internet legwork and computer things. I'm fairly computer illiterate. I know where Minesweeper is and my email. That's about it. Oh yeah, Mark Sanchez. Trade you cards when you get there, buddy boy. Ooh. We can definitely trade some art, Susie B, for sure. But definitely Kindle Direct is fairly easy to work with. So says my web witch. Nonetheless, though, if I could ever find an actual publisher to publish my next book, that'd be pretty cool. I just got to get it on the New York Times bestseller, and then I can go into work and tell my boss I'm only working half days in the afternoon. Yes, definitely I'm excited for Vegas again. I got this monstrous stack of art cards. And once again, I'll probably just end up handing some of them out to people. I'm even going to bring a couple of originals. I think I should probably do that. My dimensional self. I hope he's just as beautifully bald as I am, Kira. I save so much money by switching to bald on shampoo. Except sometimes I take some of Mrs. Filth's shampoo and I'll put it on my dome anyways, my 3 little hairs that are on there. The body's just insane. It's just poof. I definitely got way more art than last time. I might even bring a book, but definitely going to bring a couple original pieces. And swag bags are going to have a little art card in each of them as well. Cat hair. The octopus is kind of an inside joke between my pal and I. She once mentioned that she would rather fight an octopus than eat a veggie burger. So I drew a picture of her scrapping an octopus. And every once in a while, if there's a water drawing, I try to slip the octopus in there. And the inspiration for that was a character from an old Super Nintendo video game. It's not drawn the same. I don't got a lawyer to help me out with that kind of stuff. But well, look, it's Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
I'm tired.
Are you?
I had to go swimming today instead of yesterday.
Well, why did you do that?
Family day.
Why
You
did
guys don't get that till next month.
No, we're even now with you guys. We're even now with you guys. We had family day yesterday.
Oh,
but I
never
didn't
mind
go
then.
swing.
Look at that fancy tumbler he's got there.
It's fun, isn't it?
You can get those at the store too, everybody.
Yeah, you can. You totally can. Hey, who's coming to Vegas here? We know Big Texas Nick is coming. Bigfoot Rob is coming. We maybe have a Christine sighting. We know Kira's coming. Mark Sanchez is going to be there. And if you have emails that you are waiting to hear back from us, we're going to be working on that this week for our Vegas VIP party. Swag bags are going to be available if you're a VIP, plus a very special night meeting all of our special guests and our Spaced Out Radio team on the Friday night. Saturday is the live YouTube show. We want to see all of you in Las Vegas, May 19th through 21st. Come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be great. I look forward to it. Can't wait. Hopefully the snow stops falling by then.
Okay, I'm going to jump in the chat room. Have a good night, Dave. Have a good night, Deb.
All right. Bye, Filthy. Here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here comes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for coming on in. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ecofine. Ecofine is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It's all about aliens and ET contact tonight on the mighty SOR. Our guest is author, researcher, experiencer, Debra Jordan-Kauble, and we're going to get right into it tonight. Deb, thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate your time.
Thanks for asking me. I appreciate it.
And once again, people can get to see you at UFOCon 2023 in San Francisco, March 17th through 19th, where you'll be speaking. I'll be there as a master of ceremonies, and we'll have Science Bob there. We'll have Sev Talk, Melinda Leslie, Lorian Fenton, and many, many others. John Yost is going to be there. It's going to be absolutely great event that weekend. You can get your tickets at UFOCon2023.com. And the one thing that, Deb, about ET experiencers is a lot of people are confused about what kind of experience they've had. Was it a good experience? Was it a bad experience? Was it odd? I mean, your experience, what would you consider your experience as?
Well, when I was younger, it was definitely traumatic and scary. And like I said, I have no proof, but I feel like the June 30, 83 experience affected me physically, maybe messed with my eyes and stuff. So that's definitely not good. But later on, these when it changed and I started having these dreams and a couple of other experiences that I had that I call dreams because, like, you know what I mean? I'm not sure because I was the only one there, but they were more positive. So I don't know. I get asked a lot, if you could have your life over again and not have any of the weird stuff, would you do it? And as scary and painful as some of it was, especially like I said in '83, I thought I was having a nervous breakdown. That's not pleasant by any means. But no, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change a thing, because if it hadn't been for these things in my life, wouldn't have unfolded the way they did, and the life that I have now would be absolutely unrecognizable from what it is. So, but yeah, I would say early on they were scary and unpleasant, and as time passed, they changed. They changed and I changed.
What do you mean they changed and you changed?
The experience changed. It was less physical and more psychological or metaphysical. It went from physical to metaphysical, I guess. Maybe it's kind of hard to describe. Like I said, it started having more lucid dreams and strange things like that.
Right. Did this start affecting the people around you, your late husband, your children, or was this just on you?
Well, it affected my whole family. The kids and my parents living there. It affected some of my friends and neighbors, because they either witnessed things or they actually had things happen to them. Like one of the gal that lived in the apartment above mine when I first moved out from my parents after '83, and I got my own apartment with my kids. The gal who lived above me, we became friends, and she told me one night that she woke up to little guys at the foot of her bed. Now, they didn't look particularly like what I had. What she described to me sounded more like trolls or something. They had big hoods and things on them, but they were standing at the foot of her bed. She said she never had any weird stuff like that happen till I moved in. And one night she was awakened because the railing on her balcony started rattling really loudly, and it kept doing it. And she couldn't find a reason why it was happening, and she blamed it on me. She called me up and said, "Your friends were here last night." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So yeah, the people around us were definitely affected by it. So
The idea that this is something that, has changed your life, and you said that it would be something that you wouldn't change. Why wouldn't you change it? Because I look at it, I lived a very happily boring life up until the point of these experiences. And, I do regret having them at times, because I lost a lot of my best friends. I changed my location. I never felt trustworthy of a lot of people after that. I mean, there was a lot going on back then that I just couldn't explain, and my closest peers and the people who I thought cared about me really couldn't handle this big change in myself. So I would go back in a heartbeat. I really would. I liked that life. But for you, you wouldn't change it.
no. And that's why I've always said I felt fortunate, because most people didn't have the support that I had, and I had stuff happening to me from a very early age. I grew up thinking this was normal. I did not know that strange things didn't happen to other people. I didn't even know they were strange. The things that, like when my sister came home and said this big UFO was over her car and lifted her whole car up out of the parking lot of the church after she took mom to bingo. This is back in 1965. I just thought that sort of stuff happened to everybody. I didn't know that it wasn't normal. And so I kind of grew up with it. So I don't really know what a normal life is, I guess. This was normal to me. I didn't know any different. And yeah, so like if June 30, 83, which was probably my scariest and most traumatic event, didn't happen, I wouldn't have met Budd, which meant I wouldn't have met my late husband, which meant I wouldn't have met the husband I have now, which meant my kids wouldn't have gone to school where they had. My son wouldn't have met his wife. My granddaughter wouldn't have been born. I mean, everything is like a domino and just all connected. Every little thing, every little moment in my life has been weaved into this tapestry of what I have now and what I am now. And I'm happy with who I am, and I'm happy with my life. So, I mean, nothing, like I said, would be recognizable to me if I had not had that life that I started out with. So, I mean, everybody's different. And one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about my, experiences publicly and own them was so that I could give some support and comfort and, lend credence to other people who had the experiences like I've had, to support them and say, hey, yeah, I've had that too. I wanted to be able to do that and give back because I have been fortunate and not typical of somebody that's had the experiences. And I know that, and I'm thankful for that,
Oh, I get you. And I can understand that. You're more of a lifelong contactee. See, my experiences didn't happen until I was 38 years old.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Yeah. So, you're already established in life and trying to figure things out, and plan your future. And then all of a sudden everything goes haywire. Let's get to a couple of audience questions here. Let's start with Jules here. Deborah, I know your experiences started near Indy. What kind of phenomenon have you experienced after moving to Kokomo? And she goes on to say, I am from Marion, Indiana,
Yeah.
and a fellow experiencer. I've interviewed you before, so hi.
Hi. In Kokomo, once I moved up here, we had a lot of paranormal activity in the old farmhouse that I moved into. The balls of light whizzing through the house and around people's heads and out the back. And then, of course, the orange balls of light that happened around here in 2007, 2008 that were massive. We called them O-balls in MUFON, orange balls of light that appeared and then culminated in the Kokomo boom, which made national news. It was around the same time as the Stevensville sightings. And I was actually a witness to the boom and then later assigned to the case by MUFON. So that was interesting. We were on the ground. I was on the ground the next morning at 6 a.m. out driving around. All kinds of strange things happened. But I had witnessed the orange balls of light, and I saw the jets fly in. We're 18 miles south of Grissom Air Force Base, and the MOA is just west of us, west of town, between Kokomo and Lafayette, Indiana, where they do training and stuff. And this activity where this alleged plane crash that didn't happen and the explosion that rocked multiple counties, that night, happened in this MOA area. So I've had experience with the Kokomo boom. Being as a witness, I heard the explosion. I saw the flash of light. My house shook. I had been out earlier trying to record the orange balls of light with my camcorder that night, feeling that something was going to happen, and I knew it, and I was going to miss it if I went inside to pee. And sure enough, I finally gave up and went inside. 10:30 at night, I'm sitting in my office, and that's when the boom happened. And that was, you can Google Kokomo boom on Google, and it's a big whole long thing. But it's very fascinating. And then right after I first moved to Kokomo, when my moved in with my late husband before we got married, and we had a roommate, Jean, and her daughter were living with us. It was either the week before or the week after I had the surgery for a hysterectomy. We saw some flashing lights outside, and we went outside and we could hear a beeping by the barn, and the cows were mooing, and I ran out to the end of the driveway and I saw what I thought was a deer, a tall, skinny deer, like head on walking towards me. And on the video recording, you can't see anything, but you can hear my friend's daughter go, "Mommy, what's that in the road walking towards us?" And then everybody screaming, and then there's nothing, silence. So, and the tape is over. So yeah, there's been some strange things in Kokomo. Kokomo actually is quite a little hot spot in the Midwest for UFO activity and other paranormal activity. We have something here called the Kokomo hum, which has been talked about on various television shows. And they don't seem to know where it comes from, but it's like a real, and I've heard it. It sounds like a semi parked out in front of your house in idle mode, but or a little bit farther away maybe, but you can feel it in your chest, and nobody knows where that's coming from. So yeah, there's been a few things since I've moved up here.
Yeah, I can see that and feel that. Let's get over to Doug here, who is asking you, Deborah, do you have any hard feelings, hate them even, for what the aliens have put you through? Personally, I wouldn't blame you if you did.
When I was younger, yeah, I did. I was angry. I was angry, and I felt, like you didn't ask me for this, and I didn't ask for this. And then here I'm thrust into it, and I didn't ask for this. I didn't go out looking for this. It fell on top of my head, or I was born into it almost. I didn't ask to be here, So yeah, I did have those feelings, but as I got older, I began to realize that, those feelings weren't going to hurt anybody but me. So I needed to deal with them, and I did.
You are a multiple experiencer of the paranormal, the cryptid world, and the UFO extraterrestrial world. Do you have a preference?
Well, I actually am quite fond of capturing EVPs. I had a fascination for that years and years ago. And I've caught some really good ones in the course of our investigation. And what I really loved was when I would catch a UFO, like I said, I think some of the EVPs that I've captured never lived here and aren't ghosts or dead people. I think there's something somewhere else that I've just managed to capture, be at the right place at the right time or whatever. But there's been occasion when I have done private investigations for people, and we've caught EVPs, and then the family has positively identified the voice as being that of, Aunt Hazel or whatever, and are really emotional about it and happy to hear them. It gives them some kind of peace of mind and some closure. And I love that. So, I like that part.
Let's get to another question here from our audience, and this comes from Nancy. Did it give you relief when you were finally able to talk about what's going on in your life?
At first, it was really hard. And I felt like every time I opened my mouth, I sounded crazy and stupid, and it was embarrassing, and I was mortified, but I couldn't stop. I felt like I had to purge it out of me, and as time went on, I did feel better that I got it out, but it took a little while.
Did you have support from your family, your sister, who is also an experiencer with you, Did you have support from them when you went public?
Yes. It was something that we talked about before it even happened. Because like I said, we were none of us interested in a book or anything like that. We just wanted some answers and so it was kind of a whole big family discussion that we decided, if we were going to do this or not. And I ended up like kind of being the spokesperson. I got blamed because I'm the one who wrote the letter, so I'm the one that had to be the spokesperson. But yeah, it was a family decision to do that, not just going out looking for it.
What do you, or let me rephrase that. Where do you think, Deb, the answers are to the experiencer? Does it sit with the aliens? Does it sit within ourselves? Is it consciousness? Is it something that we're not supposed to know until we die, and then that's when we get all the answers to the questions we were left with down here? Where do you think the answers lie?
I think that the answers are a little bit of all of that. And I think that the answers are different for everybody, for your experience, because I think everybody's experience is uniquely their own, even if it seems similar to other people's. You're unique, so you're the unique part of the experience. And I think that the answers could come from any one of those things you just mentioned. Even alien, extraterrestrial, or life. I think there's lots of different kinds with lots of different agendas. Some maybe not so nice, and some maybe not so bad. Just like there's how many humans with different agendas right here on this planet.
Very true. Very true. Do you think, though, that there is an earthly answer to this, or a human answer to this?
In some cases, probably. It probably is. There probably is in some cases.
And where do you think those are?
Well, I don't know. It just maybe like people that have had experiences and they think it's been one thing for a long time, and it turns out it was not. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that every case has the potential to be any number of things. It just, I mean, and maybe we'll find out and maybe we won't. Maybe we'll get answers for what happened. Like maybe there's an answer out there somewhere for what happened to me in '83 and what left the mark in the yard and all the other stuff. Hasn't come in 40 years, but that doesn't mean it's not out there somewhere. But, will I find it in my life? I don't know. Is it extraterrestrial? Was it extra dimensional? I don't know. It'd be nice to know before I die. I don't know if I will or not.
Do you think time travel is involved?
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I've always felt like time travel happens. I don't know why. I've just always felt really drawn to that. So it could be. I mean, these guys, some of these maybe are us, 50,000 years in the future, coming back trying to fix some stuff we messed up here. I don't know. If I was a time traveler and I could go back in time and fix some things, I know I would like to. So
1 minute to go here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. If there was something you could ask your ET contact about, what would it be?
I'd want to ask them, do they die, and is death what it looks like, or is it something else? Do they have a God? I'd ask them stuff like that.
That's interesting. I would just like to know why I can't go fly the ship. That's what I want. I just want to fly the ship. I mean, it can't be that bad. I mean, I'm a good guy. I deserve to fly it. I really do. Deb, I'm going to get you to hold on as we have our guest tonight, Debra Jordan-Kauble, author, researcher, experiencer. We have her until the top of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to get to more of your questions when we return. All about alien contact tonight. What's it all about? What's happening with it? Why are they here? We'll find out. It's the second half of Spaced Out Radio. It starts right after this. We're almost done.
Yeah. I feel like I talk too much.
Oh, you're doing
or
great.
too fast. That doesn't sound good.
What's that?
The power outages, sirens everywhere, crazy windy night, and social gonna have to catch up tomorrow.
All right. That's our man, Obi Flat. I thought you were in Nevada there, Obi, not SoCal. Oh, well. He'll be at our Vegas party.
Yay.
Let's see here. Travis Willier, how are you, buddy? Okay, we got a few more questions here lined up for you for the next half hour.
Okay. I like questions. I don't always have a lot of answers, but when someone gives me a question, then I feel like then I'm able to at least, give them my thought on it, and just give them my thoughts, so it helps me focus a little better. And I got a lot of years worth of stuff in this head here, and it's hard to keep it all together.
Penny Van is asking, Deb, if the ETs did they give you a youth serum? Because there's no way you're over 45 or so.
No, I am. No, I wish. I don't know why I'm old. I just photograph, I guess. Well, I don't know.
I'm one of these guys one of these people who never takes a good picture.
I usually don't, but I mean, video, I don't know. But I appreciate that's very kind. Thank you.
Yes, the wind is everywhere right now on the West Coast. Right up and down the continent.
It's actually really been windy here, and we got a wind warning for tomorrow with winds of 40 miles an hour or plus. It's a good thing I don't worry much about combing my hair.
I know that feeling. I have enough product in my hair where it's like cement.
I just don't have much hair left anymore. I just put a ball cap on and be on my way.
It's all that's necessary. All that's necessary.
Our weather's been pretty bizarre. It'd be like 60 degrees one day and then, 25 the next. And it's like, welcome to Indiana. We don't have any snow on the ground right now, so that's good.
I wish I could say that.
Yeah, I know. I heard you say you got like 3 feet.
I do.
I like snow.
I'm okay with it because the more it snows now, the less chance I'm going to be breathing in forest fire smoke in the summer.
Mm-hmm. More moisture. I'm built for winter weather. I don't know. I've always liked it cold rather than hot. I'm not a beach girl. I like the mountains. I like snow. I like skiing. So I'm good with snow, which makes everyone around me here hate me because they blame me every time we get snow.
Oh, I love it.
It's so pretty to look at.
Yes. I like driving in it. I do.
I don't mind driving it. I just don't like driving on ice or in fog where I can't see. But snow don't bother me. I got a 4-wheel drive SUV, so I'm good to go.
Got you. Yep. I'm In my area, you got to have 4x4.
Yeah. Most people up here even do. Of course, we
Have
have Chrysler and GM plants up here. So everybody's got Dodge Ram trucks and Jeeps and stuff like that. So.
Oh, I hear you there. I hear you there. Up here, it's I'll tell you, everybody's got a 4x4. You can tell what we call the lower mainlanders, the people who moved up from Vancouver, because they're all still driving like 2-wheel drive cars.
And those real low ones to the ground that look pretty.
No, they've given up that due to the amount of rocks on the road up here. But yeah. Big thank you to Zen too, Derek, Deb, and Thomas for the amazing super chats tonight. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Here we go with the next half hour, everyone. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Final time tonight, we introduce Deb Jordan-Kauble. She's a lifelong experiencer. She is somebody who has researched the UFO and extraterrestrial phenomena. She is an author as well. We got her till the top of the hour here. Deb, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I got a bunch of audience questions for you, if you don't mind.
Nope.
Well, let's get right to them. Let's go to Thomas. Is there a spiritual or metaphysical component to your experiences?
The early ones, not so much that I was aware of, but as I've gotten older, it seems to be that is the case. There's been a few lucid dreams that I've had. Like I said, I feel like the lucid dreaming is a component of contact for me from somewhere. And in those dreams, there have been like a learning experience, with feelings and compassion towards other living things and stuff. So there is a metaphysical component to my newer experiences, as I've gotten older.
Excellent. All right, let's continue on here. Let's go to Gloria. How did you manage to improve your health after your encounter?
I have good doctors, and I still deal with things. Even now that I have to wonder our residual from 1983, so my health is good for someone my age, but I do have issues that I'm dealing with. And, with the eyes, I had to have my lenses replaced, and I'm under treatment for macular degeneration. I go to the doctor every 6 months. I got to take all the lutein and all this stuff, and they monitor me. So it's improved. I also improved my health by losing weight. I lost about 100 pounds, and exercise and eat right and drink more water and get more sleep. Just all the regular things you should do to improve your health that I was kind of lazy about doing when I was younger. So.
Yeah, I have that issue. I'm trying to lose weight right now.
I still need to lose more, but I've done a lot better than I used to be. So it ain't easy.
I hear you there. Did the extraterrestrials ever talk to you about health, humanity, or anything along those lines?
You know, I remember having a dream or conversation with them, or it was in a dream came to me. And my older sister had the same one years before, but we didn't talk about it. So we didn't realize we'd both done it. But I had a thought in my head one time that if I ever got terminally ill, like something really, really bad that was going to kill me, that all I had to do was go out somewhere alone, like out in a far field or something somewhere, and lay down and go to sleep. And when I wake up, I would be okay. I don't know why, I don't know what would happen to me then. And I've never done that. But I did have that thought in my head one time. And my sister had pretty much the same thing. She said that those mantis type told her that they would, take care of her that way. I don't know. She's still with us. She's 75 years old now, but she does have dementia. She does, is in a nursing home and stuff. But so I don't know how well that works, but that's what we had, those thoughts. Yeah.
All right, let's go over to Travis from Edmonton. What was one of your favorite places the extraterrestrials showed you? For me, it was their crystal room.
I remember being in a place that it looked like a giant hangar, but it kind of reminded me of like a great big airport, but inside somewhere. And there were vehicles and there were people milling around everywhere. And some of them were kind of strange looking, but I always thought it was a cool place. I liked that. And I remember a dream about a city that was made out of crystal. All the buildings look like crystals. But I think that was just a dream. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, that
hard
is
telling.
What color was the crystal building?
Pink. Or, like pinkish rosy pink.
Shout out to Dev Rugney, who says, I'll see you both in March at UFO Con.
Hi.
Yes, you will, Dev.
Yeah.
Yes, you will. Okay, let's move on to another question here from Pink Volo. Speaking of pink, with all the UFO controversy, you are living proof. Where do you feel the disconnect is?
Like government-wise, there's lots of people like me out there. There's thousands and thousands of people just in this country alone that are just like me and have sometimes even more bigger experiences than I have. But like I said before, that governments like to control things and control people and situations, and this is something they can't control. So therefore, I think they just they don't want to acknowledge us. They don't want to look at, I still have soil samples from June 30th, 1983. You know how hard it's been for me to get anybody to look at them? Budd had them done, looked at, and the result of that, what little they could do it back in 83, is in the book, Intruders. And I still have chunks of it that I've saved, and nobody cares. Nobody even wants to see it. So I think it's just they if they can't control it or you, then they just want to keep you in the shadows and keep you looking crazy so no one else will listen to you.
Very true. Very true. And do you think the government knows more than what they are giving up in regard to? Do you think they've had, let's take the United States government here for a second. Do you think that they have had ET contact themselves? They're just playing stupid with the rest of the world?
Well, I think many governments in the world, not just the United States, but I think other ones as well have had contact. I believe that. I could be wrong, but based on what I've seen in the last 40 years, what I've read and what I know personally, I believe that's true. I
Do you,
also believe that they also I also believe that they have they know about the different realities. Remember I said I feel some of my contact was extra dimensional instead of extraterrestrial. I believe that there's some part of the government that knows that is messing around and doing stuff with that right now, and probably time travel too. Why would they tell us? They're not going to tell us about any of that.
do you think they know about the people who are being abducted?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure they do. Some of them, not all of them, because I think there's just a lot. But I think they know of some of them.
All right, let's continue on here as we'll go to a question from Ryan here. Do you think the aliens, will not let us fly their ships because of how reckless we are as a species?
I don't I don't know. We are pretty reckless, but I mean, I wouldn't let none of you drive my car. I won't even let my own kids drive my car. But it's funny you mentioned about flying ships too. My friend and I both had these dreams that the ships were actually part of the pilot, and in order to fly one, you had to like be one with the ship. And I always tease my kids when I drive like a maniac and turn corners real fast and they go flying around everywhere. I'm saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm one with my car and I don't sense other people in here. So maybe you can't fly them because you have to learn how to become one with the ship, and then the ship, you just think it to fly and it does whatever you think.
It's interesting you say that because a few years ago, locally where I live, I actually met a young lady. She was 12 years old, and her mother had come to me and said, "Hey, is there any way you can help my daughter? She's having a real tough time with some experiences." And the more I talked to her, the more I realized that she was actually a contactee, and at 12 years old, she had actually flown a ship. And I asked her, I said, "Well, what's that like? What does it feel like?" And in her best 12-year-old way, she was like, "I don't know." She goes, It's just you go in there and you sit down and you just know what to do. And it comes from your head." I said, "Well, where did you go?" She goes, "Anywhere I want." And I was just like, "Oh, I'm so jealous of you. So jealous." Yeah.
That's
But
interesting.
yeah, I mean, I would love to have that experience. I'm still waiting for the UFO to land in my backyard and, open up the door and say, "Come on, Dave, let's go for a ride."
Hmm.
That's what I want. I don't know if I'll get it, but it's what I want. Let's go to Candy. Deb, do you think there is a connection between the missing 411 cases and UFOs and aliens?
Uh, uh, what is I've heard of the missing 411, but can you refresh my memory
Well,
on?
yeah, former police officer David Politis with Can-Am Missing uh, is the one who puts together the missing 411 cases where people just seem to vanish out of high strangeness, never to be seen
Oh,
again.
well, I think that some of them might be, could possibly be, they fell, got injured, and then got ate by a wild animal or something, and you're not ever going to see them again. But sadly, but yeah, I think that some of that is possible. I don't know why it could, why I wouldn't think it was possible. Um, it reminds me of the scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind when the big mothership opens up and all these people come out of it that have been missing for so many years. That yeah, I don't know why not. I'm fascinated with cases also where people seemed like they step into a time warp. They're driving down the road and all of a sudden they encounter this town that's like back in the 40s, and all the people are dressed like that. And then when they drive away, they're back in, present time. Maybe the person in the car that drove and encountered the old town in the 40s was missing, to other people, but didn't realize it. So I don't know. Could be.
I think there is a connection.
Yeah,
I do.
it could be.
And I think that, I think more so than UFOs and aliens, I think that a lot of these people have just walked through a portal in time where nothing has changed for them, but on our dimension, they're now gone. That's what I think.
Sometimes I feel like I woke up in a different timeline. I went to bed one way and woke up and things were just slightly off.
Oh, I've had that too.
And it had nothing to do with wine.
Sure, Deb. Sure it didn't. All right, let's go to another question here. Let's go to Sovereign. How do you discern between good dreams and implanted false screen dreams?
It's hard. And sometimes I don't know for sure. And so I always specify when I tell somebody something, I'm not sure. Because sometimes I can't tell. It's hard.
Do you find that you remember your dreams a little bit more when you have encounters?
Yeah. A false image, like when in 92, when I thought I saw a deer walking towards me, dead straight on a deer. So it had a big head and a skinny body. Sometimes I wonder, did I actually see a deer or was it something else? And that was just an image that was put in my mind so that I wouldn't be scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think that was your own protection that was doing that, or do you think it was actually something
external
or
yeah
external?
Yeah. It could be. I know how powerful the human mind is. I was told the story when my husband killed himself and I was there watching him do it with the sheriffs. I swore up and down I didn't hear the gunshot, but I was standing right in front of him. There was no way I didn't hear the shotgun. But your mind protects you from something that is too traumatic for you to deal with. So the human mind is powerful. It was 3 or 4 months before I remembered everything in that incident. And it was all confirmed by the sheriff deputies who were all out there with me. So it wasn't like I was by myself. But that's how powerful your mind can be when it's trying to protect you. So it's hard to say whether those screen memories come from you protecting you from something that just absolutely you can't fathom, an alien standing in front of you, or if it's done by them in an attempt to make you feel more comfortable. It's impossible to tell. For me, it would be impossible to tell the difference, knowing how powerful my mind is.
Right. Do you look at the idea of, or let me re-ask this for you. If you were to encounter your alien friends once again, how do you think you would react now comparatively to when you were a child when this happened?
Now, and I've had this discussion with friends. I would be initially shocked just because it's not something you see every day, just like I would be shocked if I looked out my window and saw a bear. I'd be really shocked because we don't have them here, but the fear and terror that I encountered, that I had within me when I was young, I don't believe that I would have that now. I feel like I'm ready that I would be shocked, but then I'd be like, hey, why are you here? What's going on? I don't feel I would have the terror that I had when I was younger.
So UFO lands in your yard, and Ock and Flick, the little gray dudes, get out and say, "Hey, Deb, do you want to come for a ride? Are you going?"
Yep. Yeah, I'll go.
And what if they don't bring you back?
Depends on where they take me. I might like it better there. I don't know. This world is kind of messed up. I saw a meme the other day that said I'd consider an abduction a rescue operation now.
Oh,
So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I would go if they don't bring me back. Then they don't bring me back. Then I'm going somewhere else.
let's go to Bones here. Earlier on, when you were talking about the hangars moving through the hangar, was it moving through space? Was there a transfer ship?
I don't know where it was. I don't know how I got there, and I don't know how I left there. I just know I stepped out of something into this giant room, it was like baseball field sizes, with all these different kinds of vehicles in them, flying, like airplanes, flying things, wheels, like cars and trucks and stuff all inside, and then people moving around everywhere. But I don't know where it was. So I don't know if it was moving through space. And I don't know what you mean by transfer ship. What I got off of, some kind of a flying like an airplane, and stepped into it. It was already in there. So, but I don't remember how I got in there. I don't know.
Finally, final question for you from our audience tonight, from Tony in the UK. What are your thoughts about these MyLab scenario abductions? Have you studied those?
I actually have, and there's a possibility I may have had an experience like that in the late 80s when I was still living at the Copley Woods area, and it was after June 30, 83, and it might have been after or during the time Intruders was written. And I had a kind of an unusual experience with the man who kind of really pursued me relentlessly till I gave in. And then I agreed to go to his place in southern Indiana for the weekend. And the weekend ended up being, he brought me back the next day after some weird stuff happened when we arrived at his place. And then, and I had remembered being taken out of his car and taken somewhere where I couldn't see. And I could feel like I was going down. And then when I could see again, I was surrounded by guys in orange outfits, humans, taken into this huge room. It looked like a big hospital hallway with glass that had wires through it. And they put a card in the door, and the door slid open, took me in a room. Then I realized that there were glass walls in this giant room, and there were other tables in this giant room. And I was just on one, but I didn't see other people. And then this doctor came in, and he had a real deep Southern drawl, and he was older. He's had white hair and ruddy face, kind of reddish. And at one point, he takes something out of my ear and shows it to me. He said, "Looky there, you had a bug in your ear." And I said, and he goes, "I don't know why I'm even showing you this. You're not going to remember any of it." And I said, "Oh, yes, I will." And then bam, next thing I know, I'm waking up in this guy's living room, and he's panic stricken. And he basically drives me home and drops me off. And I feel sick, physically sick for a couple of days afterwards. So yeah, but this was all human beings, and this experience happened. Bud tried to find this guy after, and he talked to the girl who introduced me to him when he came on one of his visits. But he was the man quit his job at a big factory in Indianapolis and left town. So we don't know what that was, but could have possibly been something MyLab. I don't know.
Deb,
why.
I want to say I want to say thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you back on this show. It had been a while, but it's good to have you back, and I cannot wait to meet you at UFOCon 2023 in San Francisco next month.
Yep, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Deb Jordan-Kauble, everybody. Experiencer, author. Find her books on Amazon. Coming up next, we're going to head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller will take us on another spooky journey. Then Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio gets into some Bigfoot stories with the Cryptid Report. Lots of Spaced Out Radio right after this. Stay tuned. Great show, Deb. Great show. I'll give you
Thank
a few
you.
claps.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun. I appreciate it. I appreciate you inviting me, and I'm looking forward to getting to meet you in person in March.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I will see you next month. We'll let you get some sleep, and
Okay.
you take care, my friend.
You too. Thank you. Stay
right,
warm.
I'll try. Good night. Deb Kauble, everybody. That was a good show. Solid show. I will be right back. You guys sit tight. Promise you I'll be right back for hour number 3. 240 watching. Don't leave. Okay, and if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. Hit subscribe as well if you don't mind. We'll be right back. right. I am back. That was a fun show. Fun show. Once again, if you have emailed us at info@spacedoutradio.com regarding tickets for the second annual SOR fan party in Las Vegas at the Golden Nugget, we will be getting them to you soon. VIP tickets will stay on sale until April 1st. That will get you into a private party on the Friday night with all of our guests. That will get you into the show as well as a big swag bag that we're going to be doing for you. And yeah, once the VIP tickets are sold, we know how many people we have with VIP tickets. Then we will be issuing the tickets for those. Regular tickets are just $60. VIPs are $100. And it's going to be a great weekend in Las Vegas. We want to see you all there. We had a great time last year. We want to do it all again. You're going to be able to meet some really, really cool people. Merle is coming down. We got Random Guy who's going to be there. Tim Senor, our entire Spaced Out Radio team is going to be there. We have Lorian Fenton, Melinda Leslie, Misha Johnson, Science Bob. Carter Bouchard is going to talk some Bigfoot. From Hoodoo Tall, we got Damian J. and Jürgen Hess. They're going to be back with us. And we got just a great, great lineup. Many more. Jim Goodall and Michael Schratt are going to be there. And Random Guy will sign autographs. However, do not make eye contact. He does not like eye contact. But he will sign in red Sharpie only. Red Sharpie only. Susie B., what does that get us? I don't know. Here we go with hour 3.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ecofine. Ecofine is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is that time once again where we head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller takes us on another spooky journey.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. I've spent my whole life tending to my farm, which has always been peaceful and simple. But in recent days, things have taken a sinister turn. It all started with my cattle vanishing, one by one, leaving no clues as to what could have been happening to them. I searched the fields, the forest, and even the nearby towns, but there was no sign of them, and no sign that they were being stolen or anything like that. You know, at first I really did think it must have been the work of some wild animals, but I couldn't find any tracks or signs of struggle. It was as if they had been plucked from the earth and taken away. Every day I became more and more on edge, if I'm honest, never knowing when the next cow would disappear. Then, Strange things started happening at night around my home. I would hear strange noises from the barn, and when I would go to investigate, there would never be anything there. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was always watching me. Something dark. Something evil. It all came to a head one night when I was doing my nightly check on the cattle. I heard a low growling sound coming from the darkness, and my heart leapt into my throat. I knew it wasn't an animal. No wild animal I have ever seen could sound like this. The sound was too deep, too ominous. And then I saw it. A massive figure appeared from the shadows, its eyes glowing like molten fire. It was unlike anything I had ever seen, a hulking beast covered in matted fur with teeth as long as my fingers. It snarled at me, and I damn near froze in terror. I knew then that I was no match for this creature. I began to run back to my house as fast as I could, but I could hear it following me close behind, its growls growing louder and more ferocious with every passing moment. I locked myself inside my house and prayed for safety, but deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. This creature wanted something from me, and I didn't know if I could escape its wrath. As the sun began to rise, I knew I would have to confront it, face my fears, and find a way to protect my farm and my life. But for now, I could only wait and hope that I would make it through the night alive. I haven't experienced it in quite a few nights now, so I don't know if it's gone or if it's just planning to come back. I'd love to know any advice in the comments. I had always loved the quiet solitude of rural life. So when I inherited my grandparents' old farm home, I thought I had found my paradise. But little did I know that the peace and tranquility I craved would soon become a nightmare. It started with little things at first. I could easily brush off as coincidences or forgetfulness. Doors I had closed would be found open. Objects that I had left in one place would be moved to another. And strange noises would come from the walls at night. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination. But as the days went by, the disturbances became more frequent and violent. One night, I was awakened by the sound of shattering glass. I got up to investigate and found a vase on a shelf had been hurled across the room, smashing against the wall. I was alone in the house, so no one else could have done it. The thought of something evil living in my home sent chills down my spine. The disturbances continued with increasing frequency and intensity. Furniture would move by itself, doors would slam shut, and I could hear disembodied voices whispering in my ear. I felt like I was being watched constantly, and I never let my guard down at all. One night, as I was lying in bed, I felt a cold breath on the back of my neck. I turned around, but no one was there. Suddenly, the bed shook violently, and I was thrown to the floor. I could hear laughter, but no one else was in the room with me at the time. The poltergeist attack continued to escalate, though. Knives would fly out of the counter. Plates would smash against the wall, and chairs would move all around the house. The house was filled with oppressive evil energy that seemed to grow stronger every single day. One night, I was awoken by footsteps coming from the hallway. I grabbed a flashlight and investigated, but no one was there. Suddenly, I was rushed by a cold, clammy sensation. Something felt like it grabbed my ankle and was trying to drag me, and I fell to the ground. I could see a shadowy figure standing over me, and I knew it had to be this poltergeist. I knew I had to leave this house, but the poltergeist would block my path every time I tried to escape. I was seemingly trapped with the evil entity that had taken over my home. Ultimately, I was forced to call in a team of paranormal investigators, and they confirmed my worst fears. A violent poltergeist infested my home. But with their help and many different ceremonies and banishing things, we eventually got the entity out of the house. But the memory of those long nights in that rural farm home will haunt me forever.
And that's why we love the Swamp Dweller coming in to kick off hour number 3 each and every night here on Spaced Out Radio. You can listen to more stories like that. Just go over to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads, and you can listen to thousands of stories just like that for free. From the swamp to the forest of Montana, it is time once again for the man, the myth, the legend, Super Duke. you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. And I tell you what, when you get them poultry geese in your house like that, you club 'em with your shillelagh, duct tape them little suckers together, drag them out in the yard, throw them out there and say, hey, you probe happy saucer jockeys, you want something to probe? Here's some poultry geese for you. And that's how you get rid of them.
Oh, my. I was not expecting that. Holy cow. That is quite the intro tonight. Wow.
It was a great soundbite for you, Dave.
No kidding. No kidding.
Duke's official advice on how to deal with poultry geese when they're investigating your house.
Yes, poultry geese. Always a trouble when they are knocking the vases over in the middle of the night.
Damn poultry geese, get out.
Got that right. I don't know about your place, man, but I've got 3 feet of snow outside, and the snow is still falling. Going to be falling again for another couple of days here. I mean, this is hey, I'm not complaining. I am not complaining, but it's going to be a while before I get to my Bigfoot site, man.
Yeah. Our weather here has been really weird because we had temps in the mid to upper 30s for about a week, so it melted off all the snow. And then at the beginning of this storm coming through, the temperature went up. So last night we were getting this titanic rainstorm. Just think of like big rainstorm in the summer, rainstorm beating on the walls, howling wind, and you're like, it's frickin' February. Oh, then this morning it figured out what month it was. The temperature dropped and we had a blizzard all day today.
But you know what? You're in a forest area. I'm in a forest area. It all helps, man, to keep those forests wet during the summer.
Yeah, we absolutely need that. And that's this area. We have 5 seasons every year. We have a fire season annually. So the more actual precipitation we get, the better that helps with things. Of course, you can overdo it too. If we get too much in the spring, then all the grass goes, oh, I'm going to grow nice and tall. And then it doesn't rain for 3 months. And you got this bumper crop of, fire fodder everywhere for any lone stray spark to fall on and create a raging conflagration and take down 20,000 acres.
Back in 2017, when we had the horrid forest fires here, they actually, first time in my life, I'd actually heard that they did not want you mowing the lawn because they were too fearful of, your blade
the blades hit a rock and it throws a spark. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty bad when it's that bad. Everything that you walk on is crunching because there's no moisture in anything. It's all like straw. It's all crunch, crunch, crunch. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. The type of grass that, if you walk on it barefoot, it's like walking on Lego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it actually hurts your feet because everything's pointy and solid and doesn't bend at all. Yeah, no, not a good time to go barefoot. Well, I'll tell you what, even though the weather sucks, other things are going fairly well. And I got some news about a guest I've been trying to get on my show for years and years and years and years. And the additional good news is I also have them talked into coming on to your show afterwards, Dave. But we cannot we cannot yet reveal the name of said mystery guest, but you will be wowed. Everybody wants this person. They wanted them for years, and we are the only ones that are getting them to start out with anyway.
Yes. And let's fingers crossed that guest comes through.
Yep. Let's hope so. We cannot reveal our secret guest's mystery identity at this time.
That's right. Oh, by the way, I had some requests on your World Bigfoot radio show this past weekend. You showed a baby Sasquatch and some really cool eye shine in the forest.
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's de rigueur for the show. The week before, we were showing some more video and pictures of the eye glow and the eye shine that Rich and the Res Squatching boys had captured over there on the Omaha Reservation in Nebraska, I think is where they got all that stuff. The baby Sasquatch is actually some video I got where I was trying to line up a shot where I had previously gotten what I thought were a couple of Sasquatch in this piece of video. So then you have to go tromping out in the woods, find the same exact spot, stand in it, aim the camera in the same direction. Has to be same time of day, same weather conditions, same light conditions. So you get a good comparison shot. So I'm thinking about all this. I'm walking over. I'm going, okay, I was right up here between where these big timber tangles were all lying together, a whole bunch of fallen trees all kind of on top of each other. And I went up right as far as I could, and then I had turned around and filmed.
So as soon as I turn around, he can reach
there you go.
right through and touch me, little
Okay,
cheater.
so explain to our radio audience what we're looking at right now.
Oh, you got the audio going. And that is, in fact, the face of the little guy that was, as I was just about to get to there, as I turned around to take that picture, there was actually two of them that were hiding under that pile of timber, and there was two more that were behind them. We found all of them in the video afterwards. And this little guy just thought he was going to count coup on me. So as I was turning around, that's the last sequence of him on the video right there.
It's a beautiful thing to be out in the woods with them.
You got the audio going again, Dave.
Once
it shouldn't be playing audio because I have that that page muted.
Okay, well, I'm hearing it on this end. I don't know. Is anybody in chat hearing it?
I don't think so. They shouldn't be able to because I'm not hearing it.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, there's the outline of his 3-4 little fingers, and the dots are where his eyes are, and you can see where the nose is and the outline of the face. And he's reaching up in between these logs. He's going to touch me as soon as I turn around and count coup on me. And the guest that I had on the show, Rich, was talking about the same thing had happened to him when he was out with his guys, and they were doing a nighttime recon, and they heard something jump down out of a tree, run right past him, and it touched Rich as he went past. And so apparently he had one count coup on him too.
Oh, very strange. Very strange.
Yep.
You know, one of the things that I wanted to look at here on this video with you, because I caught it, I believe this one near the end here has some eye shine in it. This creeps me out.
Yeah,
Okay.
This is in complete darkness too. This isn't reflected a light. You know, they're shining a light around and stuff, trying to figure out where things are at. Actually, I think there was one earlier in this. This is the second part. It was earlier in this part, or it was in the other part where it's like it's nighttime. All you can see is this one thing glowing, and you're like, "What is that? An orb?" No, it's one eye. They're peeking around a tree, looking at them.
Yeah, I mean,
this one, yeah, they do get it. There it is. There's the eyes.
I just could not imagine what that would be like. I couldn't imagine what that would be like, Duke.
You know, I have not actually seen eye glow. I've seen eye shine before. That's creepy stuff right there. If you got a light on it or something and it's reflecting back like that, could be various other critters. But you look at the color of it, it looks like it's a light blue color. There's not very many animals that will reflect an eye shine that color.
I mean, the idea that looking at this video here, these gentlemen who are filming this are what, 50 feet away? 60 feet away?
Probably.
Maybe?
Yeah.
And to have a creature, because you can't tell what it is, but to have a creature, whether it's a bear or a cougar or a Sasquatch or whatever it may be, that close, and seeing its eyes, and that's all you can see.
Yeah, that's creepy.
My goodness.
Like I said, I haven't seen the eye glow. I've seen eye shine before, and one time it was it doesn't take very much. Me and Michael were up on the road up above camp because there was a Perseid meteor shower was going on, and we had a nice clear starry sky, so you could see all the meteors coming down. So we just walked up there in the dark, didn't have flashlights on or anything, and we were watching the meteors come down. And I started noticing that over to my left-hand side where the bushes along the road were, there was a set of eyes that looked just about like that. And as I would notice the meteors going down and my eyes would drift in that direction, because the meteors are going that direction, I would see his eyes over there. And even with just the faint amount of light from the stars, you could see, eye shine off of his eyes. And he was only about 40 feet away from us. He was watching what we were doing.
Creepy. Now, when you're that close to them, are they making noise? Are they deadly silent?
Well, it depends on the situation. If these guys are out walking around in the woods and stuff, so they can move around, and for the most part, they're really silent. Occasionally they make a noise, but it may be that they're trying to do that. When we're at camp, and like the one that was sitting in the bushes there watching me, after the fourth time, I said, "Hey, I can see you," and he backed up into the bushes, so I couldn't see his eye shine anymore. But I never heard him; I could just see his eye shine. And we've had them around camp before too, where you can see their eye shine. Generally, they're pretty good at hiding that, but you'll hear them more often. They'll be making little subtle noises. They'll be cracking twigs, rustling leaves, or they'll do a wood knock, or you hear a rock clack, or they'll do a whoop or something like that, just so they're there. Even if you don't exactly see them, they're over there.
Right. Okay. So if you're staring in that one set of eyes, how many more sets of eyes are around you that you're not seeing?
Well, yeah, exactly. You don't know exactly how many they've got watching you. We've been able to gauge it by how much activity there is around our main research area. There's actually a Christian kids camp that comes up there and sets up camp on Thursday night, or is it Friday night. And then Saturday morning, they leave and go whitewater rafting. And they do this every weekend all summer long. So we know Thursday night when we show up, there's going to be Bigfoot all over the place by the camp because there's nothing else going on in the valley. Then the following night, we won't see them. They might have one sentinel watching us. The rest of them all be over watching all the kids at the camp. Then on Saturday night, they'll be back over watching us again. See what I mean? They're like fairly predictable once you figure out what they're up to and what's attracting their attention. Oh, the boys aren't around here tonight. They're going to be over there. Well, probably have maybe one watching us. And then the next night when all the kids are gone, there's nothing else going on in the valley. So we're the entertainment again. And they come over and pay attention to us again.
Right. Because Sasquatch seems to have a real affection for children.
Yeah, that used to creep me out a lot, and I've been really paying close attention to that sort of interaction and stuff. And I think part of it is that since they can read your surface intentions and stuff, and children are, they don't think like adults do. They're very innocent. They're not agenda driven. They're not out to kill things and whatever. They're just little innocent kids. And so I think they can relate to that a lot. And also the fact that their kids are basically harmless. We're
Right.
practically harmless to them. Kids are really harmless to them. And it's entertaining. And the other thing is, if you've had I've got a lot of reports from people that have been long-term interactors and stuff with them. And from what I've been able to gather, their kids do the same kind of stupid antics our kids do. You hear them giggling and playing, and children's voices in the woods. Those aren't children. Those are little Sasquatch that are playing with each other. That's what you're hearing.
My goodness. We got 90 seconds here before we got to go to break here at the bottom of the hour here. Now, Duke, what kind of story are you setting us up for the next half hour?
Well, I'll tell you, in honor of the fact that it's now, of course, 2/22/2023. The show started out on 2/21. So we're going to have the top 21 Bigfoot sighting locations that if you want to see one somewhere near where you're at, here's the top 21. And then I got some more military encounters we can fill up some more time with.
I love the military encounters.
We got some good ones.
I love it. The one thing that I love about going after and looking for this creature is you can go out 100 times and you could feel it around you 60 times. 30 times there's nothing going to be there. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, that one time, that one little time when you're least expecting something, you get a brief moment into, holy cow, that just happened. It's such a rush, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I bet it still works that way with me when I go to a new area, so I'm not sure if they're around or anything. And then if there's like any level of activity, I'm like super excited. But if I go to my main research area, I expect them to be there. So if they're not around, I start getting creeped out and going, where the hell are they? What's going on? They should have been here by now.
Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio is here with the Cryptid Report. We will return with cryptid reports from all across North America with World Bigfoot Radio's Super Duke Sullivan. We will be right back with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio right after this. Stay tuned. Good stuff there, Super Duke.
Yeah, I got this top 21 Sasquatch is pretty interesting too. Actually, Lauren Coleman compiled it. He only made a top 20. So I added one. So he skipped an important one that should have been high on the list.
I apologize to everybody if I'm looking a little tired tonight. I had to shovel a lot of snow today.
Oh, good Lord.
A lot of snow.
Don't you guys know about them snow blowery things they got now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But sometimes good old manual labor has to interact with that.
Well, as long as you're not going to have a heart attack, shoveling snow is really kick-ass exercise, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like throwing hay bales and stuff. You will be sore. You will get a good workout.
Back as a kid, I loved going to my cousin's farm and throwing hay bales.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It was awesome. Sometimes we'd whip so far up onto the top of the other pile that they'd flop over the other side and they get mad at us. They'd break opening.
I remember like my cousin, they had 10 acres and they come from a very strict Haldeman Mennonite family. But my cousin never joined the church. So he was, him and I got along pretty good. But we finished haying, I think at about 11:30 at night. And we go into the barn. We're getting everything kind of cleaned up and everything. And his mom comes into the barn, and says, "Oh, I made you guys a little bit of a snack before you, because I figured you guys would be all hungry after this." So we're like, "Oh yes, we're starving." And there's like five or six of us. We walk into the house. And the first thing you smell is fresh bread that's been baked. Yeah, that was just the start of it. We get in there. There is roast beef, mashed potatoes, carrots, corn, peas, mushrooms, salad, like a full course meal. And we thought, well, I thought this was just a little snack. No, full course meal, fresh homemade gravy. You know, it was just,
oh God. Now I'm hungry. I got to go warm my coffee up and grab part of a smoke. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you got 2.5 minutes. Yeah, that was a good meal by Cousin Pam. Good meal. Oh, Super Duke's on the microwave right there. Now I'm hungry. Why did I have to go and say that? I'm on day 5. Day 4 or 5 of eating chicken salad for dinner. I'm going to see if I could do this for a month. Because I have to say, I really enjoy a good chicken salad. And I like vegetables. It was totally Steve Wolf, a nice rib stick and food coma. Like all of us after we finished that meal, Oh, and by the way, for dessert, she also baked fresh apple pie. Yeah. Be sure to say in the email where I met you, SOR. D. Swagger, what's that for? Is that for Vegas? Is that what that's for? Thank you to our super chatters tonight. Thomas and Deb and Derek and Zen2. Very much appreciate the love and support. Blueberries don't last long in my house. I can go buy like 2 packs of blueberries and I'll have them destroyed within the next couple of days. Yeah, they don't last in my house at all. Trying to, Deb from SAC. Trying to. Got to look good. All right, we got 10 seconds, Super Duke. 10 seconds.
10-ish, 9-ish, 8-ish.
Here we go. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go with the Cryptid Report. Our good friend Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio is here, and he's going to take us into the night with some real weird cryptid stories. Duke, welcome back.
Hey, always fun to be here. And big sky howdy to everybody out there in listener land.
Absolutely. So where are you taking us, Duke?
Well, like I said, first of all, we've got the top 21. The Bigfoot top 21. What's the Bigfoot top 21? The 21 best places to see Bigfoot, as compiled by Lauren Coleman in his book, Bigfoot, The True Story of Apes in America. They're not apes. He says you have a better chance of seeing a Bigfoot or finding a footprint in one of the following hotspots than anywhere else in North America. Sightings are so routine near some of these communities that many recognize their good fortune through road signs, memorials, statues, museums, and gift shops. Number 1 on the list, Bluff Creek, California. Bluff Creek is the mecca of the Bigfoot field, the birthplace of the first Bigfoot track finds, and the site of the filming of the Patterson-Gimlin footage, made famous by the familiar frame 352 of a female Bigfoot, now named Patty. Visit the nearby Bigfoot wing of the Willow Creek China Flats Museum in Willow Creek. Take 299 east from 101 at Arcata. It houses Bob Titmus's entire Bigfoot cast collection and other great Bigfoot exhibits. A 23-foot tall Bigfoot statue by Gordon Burns stands outside the museum. The 8-foot tall life-size Bigfoot sculpture, hey, who says a 23-foot one isn't life-size? Anyway, Bigfoot sculpture by Jim McLaren is nearby, with yet another statue at the Legends of Bigfoot Museum at Gaberville, also in Humboldt County. Willow Creek's annual Bigfoot Days celebration occurs on the Labor Day weekend and features speakers and family activities. This may be out-of-date information. This is a very old book. At number 2, he puts Fouke, Arkansas. And interestingly, this weekend, I have the guy that played the part of the Boggy Creek Monster himself, Keith Crabtree, on my show. The real-life encounters of the Fouke Monster and the filming of the famed Boggy Creek movies occurred near this village. Shop for Bigfoot souvenirs at the local Monster Mart. An annual Boggy Creek Festival is held every April, complete with books to buy, cast to view, Bigfooters to meet. There's actually more than one Fouke Bigfoot type camp out that goes on, but you got to kind of be a local or know somebody to know about the other ones. 3, Ape Canyon, Ape Caves, Mount St. Helens, Skamania County, Washington. Here's where the apes attacked in 1924 and where their relatives continue to be seen today. Signage memorializes the event in the Ape Caves area. The county serves as a gateway into the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, site of the Skookum cast find. Due to a high level of activity, Skamania is the only county in the nation where it's against the law to kill a Bigfoot. The annual Carson Bigfoot Days is usually held in August with Bigfoot lectures, statues, exhibits, and family fun. To the east, along the Spirit Lake Highway in Kidd Valley, there's a Bigfoot statue near a tourist shop. Drive further north and find a Bigfoot crossing sign on the Mount Baker Highway. Clocking in at number 4, Oregon Caves National Monument, Grants Pass, Oregon. Grants Pass has a rich history of Bigfoot encounters. A local service group, the Oregon Cavemen, was established in 1922 and then erected a giant figure of a prehistoric caveman at the Interstate 5 exit to Grants Pass. Since the Bigfoot sighting in 2000 at Oregon Caves, local shops have been selling Bigfoot memorabilia. Hillsboro, Oregon holds an annual International Bigfoot Society conference. Coming in 5th place, Mount Shasta, Trinity Alps, California. The Trinity Alps are also steeped in native and modern Bigfoot lore. The Sisson Museum, southwest of Mount Shasta City, has Bigfoot exhibits and souvenirs. Now in at number 6, somewhere nearer to Old Dave up there, Harrison River area, plus Klemtu and the nearby islands off British Columbia. Sasquatch habitats exist throughout British Columbia. You can also attend the annual International Sasquatch Symposium in Vancouver, or go visit the Sasquatch Zunaqua totem poles at the University of British Columbia's Museum of Anthropology campgrounds, named after Bigfoot and Sasquatch, often have statues of the hairy primates at their entrance, especially in the Harrison Hot Springs area, which is also extremely notorious for Bigfoot sightings and lots of Bigfoot lore, Sasquatch lore, as they would say up there. Coming in at 7, Pike National Forest in Colorado. The sightings in the Pike National Forest are a local secret. One authentic road sign in the park warns motorists of frequent Bigfoot crossings. That should be a bit of a clue. Number 8, Mount Hood National Forest, Oregon. Mount Hood has been an active Bigfoot area since the 1800s. The shops in nearby the Dalles, Oregon, usually have Bigfoot souvenirs because the town was formerly the location of Peter Burns' now defunct Bigfoot Research Center. Coming in at number 9, Payette National Forest, Idaho. Payette National Forest is one of the hidden secrets of the Bigfoot world. Much more is going on in Idaho than most people realize. Yeah, that's where Glag came from. Serious researchers only are allowed access to Jeff Meldrum's collection of over 100 Bigfoot casts at Idaho State University, or you can go out 2 blocks away and get your own. 10, Jackson County, Murfreesboro, Illinois. Home of the Big Mighty Monster is a quiet town. Low-key local acknowledgement like t-shirts are hard to find, but surface occasionally. And I'm putting in at number 11, anywhere in western Montana, if you're in a national park or a forest, there's Bigfoot there. And it's such a well-known fact that they live around here. See that shirt? That's from a jerky factory in Lincoln, Montana. They've got their own damn Bigfoot shirt. Every truck stop in a little stinking town you go into in western Montana has their own Bigfoot shirt. Missoula probably has a dozen different designs right now that you can get. It's that commonly known. And like Bigfoot live all over the place here, but they don't do any tourism associated with it, which is also sort of peculiar because, well, we've got all these giant parks and they're getting us $4 billion a year anyway. So who cares about advertising for Bigfoot, right? So coming in at number 12, Tuscarawas, Coshocton County, Ohio. On the east of the Appalachia, this is the territory of the Ohio Grassman. An annual Bigfoot conference takes place in Newcomers Town, where casts, books, T-shirts, and more are available. And guest who's been on my show several times, Jerry from Ohio, he actually is in that Coshocton area. And Jerry Klein has been all over that place, and he's gotten some amazing evidence out of there. I mean, it's like really shocking, compared to some of these guys that are in Pacific Northwest in position where they should be able to get tons of evidence. And he's over there in Ohio getting the tons of evidence, finding track lines that are 2 miles long and stuff like that. Like, wow. So where were we at here? Number 13, St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana. This is the stomping ground of the Honey Island Swamp Monster. Boat tour guides are aware of the monster's history, and an exhibit at the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans has a life-size representation of the monster. At number 14, the Everglades, Big Cypress Swamp, Florida. Active pockets of skunk ape encounters abound throughout the swampy environments. Shop along the Alligator Alley, carry artifacts from fake ape heads to t-shirts acknowledging the creature's existence. At number 15, Marion County, Texas. Here lies Caddo Lake, notorious place, a spooky spot linked to the Boggy Creek activities. Again, Black Lake down there, same thing. An annual Bigfoot conference at Jefferson focuses on the Texas Bigfoot. 16, Pike County, Missouri. This is the home of the Momo, the Missouri Monster. So active in the 1970s and still seen around today. Talks at the local Louisiana, Missouri library occasionally discuss Momo's place in Bigfoot history. At number 17, Allegheny, Fayetteville counties, Pennsylvania. Still haunted by the hairy relatives of Jan Clements Kong, this region is abuzz with Bigfoot stories. An annual East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Conference takes place in Jeannette. At number 18, Lake Louise Jasper, Alberta. Reports of the hairy giants of the woods date back to the 1800s in Lake Louise Jasper. New reports come in yearly. The National History Museum, Clock Tower Village in Banff, has a life-size exhibit of a Sasquatch. At number 19, Antelope Valley, California. Antelope Valley sees a lot of unusual Bigfoot activity, but does not get much publicity, even though it's so close to LA. South of the city in Orange County, there's a little Bigfoot museum with a Gigantopithecus skull replica, Bigfoot casts, and Bigfoot books at Knott's Berry Farm near the Bigfoot Rapids water rafting ride. And at number 20, St. Clair, Sanilac, Huron, Tuscola, Saginaw counties of Michigan. Pretty much the whole thumb of Michigan has seen decades of Bigfoot encounters. That's over there where BMR lives in Michigan. With possible migrations into the Sister Lakes and Monroe area, recent activity hints that this could be a good location for searches. And this is written 30 years ago, so yeah, there's like a huge lot of reports coming out of Michigan right now. The Michigan Magazine Museum of the M33 between Fairview and Commons has an exhibit of a Bigfoot track cast taken near there. And finally, at number 21, northern Maine. 95% of the state of Maine is covered in trees. And indications are that the down east side of the Appalachian Mountains, from Aroostook to Kennebec counties, still serve as a route of activity for what the Mi'kmaq tribe called the Gugway. In Sydney, look up Richard Brown to see his Bigfoot track casts. J. Carr's Outdoor Museum, all the way to the very end of Interstate 95 in Holton, Maine, has a Bigfoot statue outdoors. And as far as Maine goes, there's a researcher over there who specializes in digging up really old reports and also does bushcraft and stuff. And he's got a channel, DL Susi, which I recommend. I'm not sure if he's even still around doing anything anymore, but great stuff if you want to know about the history of Bigfoot over in Maine. And you can also pick up some info on how to be a bushcrafter. And so you can go camp with the Sasquatch that are hopefully friendly. So there's your top 21.
Well, the only thing that I found disappointed about that is the fact that British Columbia, which is a hotbed all over the
province. Was that far down the list?
Number one, that far down the list. But number two, that it was all lumped together.
Yeah. Like, well, a lot of these places he didn't go like, ooh, this state's got a lot of Bigfoot. And he did that with British Columbia. He said, there's no hot spot. The whole place is a hot spot. All of British Columbia is a hot spot.
Right. Hey, I got to be protective of my province here. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Lauren. You know better.
Yeah. Well, It's Lauren. What can you say?
Oh, very true. Very, very true. But
When he's
either way,
not running his Bigfoot museum, he's posing as Santa Claus.
hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
He can pull it off, though. That's you just put a red hat on Lauren, and he's all good to go. All the Sasquatch are asking him for presents.
We got 7 minutes left, my friend. And
well,
I know
let's
you
hear a nice military report.
Love it. Let's get to
Let's see. I wonder if we can get through this one. Edwards Air Force Base surveillance, written by Doug Trapp. The sun dropped quickly behind the desert rock piles, revealing a deep red glow to the western sky. As Corey Rudolph and I made camp at the east end of Avenue J in Palmdale one spring night in '77, we had been visiting the area as often as possible in response to several credible Bigfoot reports in this California desert. To the east was nothing but dark black sky with thousands of stars and periodic meteors whizzing by. Our objective was twofold. One, to observe all we could during the night, and two, to get away from the Los Angeles rat race. We had been driving through the area north of the mountains separating the LA area from the desert in search of clues and people to interview who claimed to have encountered a desert Sasquatch. Through the next 3 years, Corey and I, and sometimes with my faithful red-tailed hawk Nixon, gathered as much information on desert Sasquatch activity as we could. In many cases, the witnesses told very similar tales of large hair-covered man-like apes observed crossing the highway or looking in their windows at their homes, usually after midnight. Through these witnesses, we slowly became aware that the military just north of Lancaster, California, at Edwards Air Force Base, had been witness to these desert man-bases for several years. We finally made contact with 3 different military security officers. None of them knew each other or who provided us with information relating to what the Air Force knew about these animals. Before I continue with this, I must inform the reader that these 3 men were willing to discuss this with us only because we promised to never reveal their names or ranks. If we did, they would deny everything. Because I believe in keeping promises, I will comply with their request, but will refer to them only by rank since I do not believe, not much has changed since then. The first I interviewed was the lieutenant in charge of security in the sector of Edwards Air Force Base near Rogers Dry Lake. He was primarily responsible for supervising the surveillance activity from sunset to sundown from 1972 to 75, and he was then transferred to Germany and then retired. This gentleman explained to me that the base security was primarily involved with monitoring for unauthorized entry to the base by curiosity seekers. The base was highly involved with classified secret aircraft testing at the time. So it was curiosity seekers read UFO people. And there were many curious people trying to take photos. In addition, the base had a very high level of UFO activity, or as he put it, alien spacecraft. In fact, he made it clear these craft were not from Earth and that the Air Force knew very little about them. When any unauthorized people or alien craft entered his perimeter, my informant was to report to the higher command and observe. All his personnel had top security clearance and were to discuss nothing of what they saw. He further described some of these craft to me, but I was not very interested at the time. While they were conducting surveillance one night, always using starlight scopes and motion detectors spread throughout the base, one of the guards reported an infiltration in his perimeter. When he asked for details, the guard described a very tall man, but not really a man. Perplexed by such a report, he decided to drive to the location and talk to the guard, perhaps thinking the man had lost his marbles. When he arrived, a wide-eyed guard met him and repeated his story. The lieutenant began to scan the desert for the intruder and soon spied him, or it. Through the starlight scope, he could clearly see this was not a man. It was very tall, hair-covered, ape-like man walking through the desert. He said the animal appeared to be looking at the desert floor in search of something. It was about 500 yards distant, but the scope was very powerful and tripod-mounted, so he could be observed clearly. Both men continued to observe the animal as it wandered around almost aimlessly. He then reported to his superiors of this activity and was told to keep the animal in sight. This was no problem as the animal remained in the area. About 5 minutes later, a helicopter was heard approaching the area. Then it was seen coming in fast from the east. They continued to observe the animal, which continued its activity. The helicopter came in over a rock pile. Then the animal spooked. It looked at the helicopter, turned, and ran like a deer around a rock pile and out of sight. The helicopter searched the area, but never found the animal. The two men could hardly believe what they had seen. The next day, the lieutenant reported to the command post of the previous night's activity. The command told him that these animals had been seen on the base before, and the public knew them as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. The command explained that they were concerned that these animals may be related to the alien craft, and that all such reports must remain top secret. He was told to continue to observe and report, but not to intervene or disturb the animals until the command determined what they were. The lieutenant had heard the Bigfoot before, but not in the desert. He always thought this was some sort of fable or hoax, but he knew what he saw and now knew they were real. Through the following years, he and his crew observed the Sasquatches on the base several times. By 75, they had sophisticated equipment, including video surveillance cameras mounting in key areas. He then explained to me that they had videotaped these animals several times, but the tapes were classified and held under top security at all times. By the time he left Edwards, they had learned very little about these creatures, but his feeling was that they were not UFO related, but biological living beings. How much time we got, Dave?
We have just over a minute and a half.
All right. Well, I guess I'll cut her short there. I don't know how much more we can get on this one. One little more section. The second officer I interviewed was a major before he retired in 78, served at Edwards Air Force Base in 70 through 78, was in charge of the command post on the north end. He, too, explained that they were primarily interested in UFOs and aliens, and it was, in fact, through him that he first heard the term EBE. In any case, the major confirmed the lieutenant had told what the lieutenant had told me, but added these creatures also found their way into the secret underground tunnels that run under Edwards Air Force Base. Although the use and existence of these tunnels was classified, he told me about them knowing that their importance was a moot subject to me. He said they had surveillance cameras in the tunnel and had, in fact, videotaped the Sasquatches as they wandered around in them.
Oh, weird. We're going to have to see if Random Guy knows anything about that. We're going to have to.
Yeah, that's, again, as I've been covering over the last little period here over the last few weeks, there's plenty of reports of them on military bases. The military know they exist. This is no big surprise to them.
Super Duke, we will talk to you in a couple of nights' time. Thank you so much for another great cryptid report, Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio.
Love you guys. Can hardly wait to tell y'all who our mystery guest coming up is going to be, but it's going to blow your minds. We scoop the entire world.
Yeah. We love it. We love it, my friend. All right, we'll talk to you in a couple nights' time. Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. Big thank you to Swamp Dweller and to our guest tonight, Deb Jordan-Kauble, talking about alien incursions. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching Beyond the Night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. You know, it was weird. The other day I was driving with my buddy in the car, and little brother is watching. Comes on. And it gets to that end part. And just, I wasn't even thinking about it, Super Duke.
Was you start narrating it.
I start narrating it. My buddy looks at me like, WTF? And I'm like,
reflex action.
It's a reflex.
It's like being a trained martial artist. You don't even think about it anymore. Your body just does it automatically.
Yeah. I was like, you got to be kidding me here. Like, who does that? Apparently I do. I'm that guy.
You do.
I am officially that guy.
That's a good one, Dave. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I sure hope it warms up again soon. Now that we're in the post storm, the wind still hasn't died down, but the temperature is dropping. So now it's going to get nice and brutally cold.
Yeah, we're what are we down to? We're at 3 Fahrenheit right now.
Yeah, you're colder than we are. We're at about 9 right now, with about 40-mile-an-hour wind. So, going outside is starting to suck. I don't really mind the cold that much, but when it's windy, that's when it really sucks.
Yeah, this is supposed to be our final big cold snap of the year.
Oh, let's hope so. I'm ready for everything to melt so we can get out in the woods and go visit the biggies.
Oh, I know. I want to get out there so bad. And, talking to Robin McCrae about a week ago, she's like, your big guy is waiting for you.
What kind of food are you supposed to be bringing him? Because that's the only thing they ever think about.
I'm not bringing him any food. No, I'm not bringing him any food.
Yeah, he's probably looking forward to seeing you.
But I will say this. I will say this, Duke. This time I'm going to be a little bit more brave. And if I get the opportunity to see him again, I'm going to slowly but surely make my way towards him. Sure, it might be death, but that's a good death.
All right, hold your hands up. If I haven't got any weapons, hey, buddy, mind if I come over a little closer?
Oh, I'll take my time. Like, I'm not going to rush on over to him.
Yeah. No, don't do the Kelly Shaw thing where you grab the camera and run toward him.
No. But I will slowly make my way towards him. That would be cool.
Yep. Well, you already found an area that they hang around in. Now all you have to do is just keep going out there and getting them used to you being there. And you already seem like you got at least 1 or 2 of them that kind of like you, so they'll keep hanging around. You'll see them over there again.
Well, you know what? It's a matter of establishing that area, and like I said, I mean, my goal this spring is to buy an RV trailer. And my buddy Mark has an RV trailer out there. So that way, the only thing that could really kind of screw it up a little bit is like if we stay out there, I'm going to bring my dogs, because I kind of have to.
Yeah.
But hopefully that doesn't screw things up too badly.
Yeah, it totally depends. Some dogs have been habituated to them, don't bark at them and stuff, and actually they'll play with them. Then other dogs that are terrified of them, like normal dogs are, and bark their full heads off. They don't like that.
Well, I'll have to remind them, I'll go in there and I'll just say, hey, be nice to the dogs. They're old. They don't.
If you got old, low energy dogs, you're way better off. The younger ones are more likely to do something stupid and go run after them and bark at them and crap.
Oh, my 10-year-old German Shepherd still thinks he's 2 years old, right?
Mm. Robert at Swan Lake Sasquatch was talking about the dog that he's got now. He had one previously that had been habituated to their presence. When they showed up anywhere around where he was, the dog would just turn around and go back home again. Now, the new dog he's got is more protective of him. So it'll actually stay where he is and growl at him and stuff. And apparently they didn't like this very much. And at some point, one of them picked up his dog and ran off with it. And he could hear the dog freaking out and yipping and everything. And it was going through the woods really fast. And then after a while, it just set the dog down and let the dog come back again. Well, now when they get anywhere near him, the dog does what the old dog did and turns around and goes back to the house again.
That's all right.
He's like, no, I don't want another Sasquatch arm ride at 50 miles an hour through the woods. That was terrifying. I'm not going to go growl at those things. I have zero chance.
He's like, I'm not doing anything that Super Duke wouldn't do.
I'm not going to do that. That would get me killed. That was not good.
Right?
Yeah. And Robert was remarking, he could hear the dog, whining, protesting, yipping the whole time the Sasquatch was running through the woods with him. And he couldn't believe how fast it was going. Like literally 45, 50 miles an hour through the woods. Heavy timber with his dog under his arm. Scaring the hell out of the poor dog. Didn't hurt him at all. Put him down. Let him come back again. Just wanted to scare the crap out of him, apparently. So,
well, my dogs are up there where probably at that time of night, like they would be in the trailer anyways.
Yeah, Steve Wolf in chat knows what I'm talking about. He says, haha, Sammy is first to bolt now. Yeah, now when he senses they're nearby, he just turns right around, goes back to the house, leaves Robert out there by himself.
River Dogma. Sorry I'm late. I was watching a Tucker Carlson marathon. God, the only way I could do that is if I got to hit him. God, Tucker Carlson.
Why don't they make any of those inflatable clowns anymore? They could make one with Tucker's face on it, and you could make a fortune off selling those things.
I'm telling you right now, if anybody finds a Tucker Carlson punching bag, please let me know.
There's a few other noted people out there that have punch me faces too that would make great punching clowns. Adam Schiff comes to mind. I could punch his ugly mug all day long.
You know what? He's got one of those faces too that deserves to be punched.
Especially repeatedly.
When he tries to act tough by popping his eyes out.
He does that normally, but yeah, when he pops them out even more, so he looks like Grover from the Sesame Street.
My father used to do that as intimidation, is he'd pop his eyes out. And I remember one time, I think it was about 34, 35, and I was 35, and he tried getting pissed off at me, and he pops his eyes out, and I just looked at him and said, "Get your effing eyes back in your head." Brought him back in. Hello, Nicole Sakic. You're up late. He kind of looks at me.
Most stunning smile on the internet, Nicole Sakic.
Oh, look at you, Super Duke. Buttering up the lady with that stunning smile comment.
Yeah, it's true. She has to have darkened glass in her studio so that her smile doesn't just blind everybody when they're trying to film her on camera.
Mm-hmm. I know Random Guy is still in here somewhere. Good night, Miss Squatch. See you soon. Dave's the type of guy to pee in the snow and then ask if you need more ice in your drink. Yes, I am. I absolutely am.
No, he'll ask you if you want a lemonade snow cone.
That was better.
All right.
Than snow cone.
Mystery guest. Are you ready for a mystery guest? Not just any guest, but totally the best mystery guest that everyone wants and can have. Tease, tease, tease. So what should I talk about on Thursday, Dave? What does everybody want to hear about? We want more military reports or something different?
I like the military reports. That's me.
There's still more. It's really interesting to hear that about all of these things around bases, and then you get the inside guys to actually admit, well, yeah, we're monitoring that. We know what's going on and stuff. But I mean, under Edwards Air Force Base, oh yeah, they kind of infiltrated our tunnels underneath here. We keep getting them on videotape. What?
You're a random guy dropping a Super Duke right there.
Thanks, random guy.
Random guy is the type of guy who does this with his hat. He wears it up high and then on an angle.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts. Bloody random guy for doing that.
I used to wear my baseball caps backwards so that the birds wouldn't poop on my ponytail.
By the way, random guy says the tunnels under Edwards Air Force Base are creepy.
Yeah, I can believe that. That's the problem with those guys. They do really well in lightless environments. They're ridiculously strong, and they like tunnels. So anywhere underground, and it could be around down there. And it could be not the good ones either, but the hungry ones that are like, ooh, a snack. Did I hear a chicken delight truck just pull up? I think I smell something yummy.
Chick-fil-A on a Sunday. That's
Free subterranean home delivery. This is awesome.
Hi, Esmeralda. By the way, random guy says literally exactly how I wear my hats. Oh, I know.
All right, wonderful peoples. I'm gonna go eat something here and get to work editing because I have to make sure there's a show for you guys this weekend. So I have to get to work on it.
All right, Super Duke.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me on the show again, Dave. You're the best, man.
No problem. We'll talk to you soon. There goes Super Duke. World Bigfoot Radio. Did you see anything weird in there, random guy? All right, let's go here. What we got going on here? We got one oryx there. Or Oldonio, what do you got for us? Zebra and gazelles. Those aren't oryx. Oh, they are oryx. No, those aren't oryx. Oh, one oryx and one's not. Oh, go like this. Hold on. Present. Share screen. There you go. Like lab rooms. Oh, weird. Like aliens, man. It's where they were dissecting aliens. Oh, a giraffe showed up. Look at that. We got like 4 different species there right now. Look at how the giraffe just towers over them. You know, if you look at these two right here, all right, the giraffe and the oryx right there. All right, these two. That's like random guy hanging out with Tim Senor. Random guy's the giraffe. Tim Senor is the oryx. I have been near a giraffe a few times. This is how a random guy also drinks his beer at the bar. He's got to spread his arms out just to go down and take a sip. I'll be right back. All right. The giraffe is still there. Good. All right. All right, El Daño's cleared out. Let's go look somewhere else, shall we? Where'd everybody go? Where'd who go? Maybe our hippo is back. Damn. It's looking awfully green there. They must have got some rain. Oh, it looks like it's raining there right now. Just sprinkling. Nothing happening there. Oliphant's River. Ooh, they definitely got some rain. That river's high. No crocodiles in there today. Any elephants? Nope. Boy, they definitely got some rain. That's awfully green there around there. Let's go to Tau. Oh, there we go. There we got some crocodile action. Is it eating something? Oh, it's got a deer. Look at that. Well, that's a highlight. Either way, it's got something. Sweet. Let's go back here a little bit. Let's go back on the replay here. Okay, here's the replay. Now, this is just, these are highlights here. Hold on. Let's get to the good stuff here. Where was that? There it is. Hold on. What do we got here? There's some lions. Good times there. Where is that replay? That crocodile. Oh, some ostriches. Come on. Give it to us. See? Whatever the hell that is. That thing's going under. All right. So hold on here. Oh, too much. All right. So we're going to play it from here. Cute little zebras. All right, this is boring. Let's get to the good stuff. There we go. Oh, that's not a crocodile. It's a hyena. And here comes the crocodile. What's it get? Okay. So it scares the hyena out or the jackal out. And then it attacks that little dude. Says, hey, there's a free lunch. There we go. This is what we want to see. Finally, some carnage. How did... Okay, so alligator or crocodile has a hold of the thing's ass. The jackals aren't liking that. They're like, hey, let go of that ass. Like, come on, let that go. That's our meal. Crocodile's like, screw you guys. You're in my territory here. I'm just going to say right now, you have a crocodile holding onto your ass like that. That's got to hurt. That can't feel good. Done. Oh, it's getting away. It's getting away. It's almost at shore. Almost there. Use them strong legs. Kick away. Kick away. It made it. Son of a gun, it made it. It's got a torn up ass. But I mean, it made it. Good for you. Good for you. That's surprising. That poor thing's got to catch its breath before them jackals come back. I'm really surprised by this. Very surprised. Hey, Zune. How you doing? Oh. Baboon versus cheetahs. Them baboons are nuts. Look at the elephants. See, like these stupid things here. Why are you legs first into the water knowing there's crocodiles in there? What is that animal? Looks like it's definitely got a winter coat on it. Philip Blair, how you doing? Baboons are crazy. All right, let's see what else we got here. More elephants with some hungover wildebeests. Love elephants. Absolutely love elephants. Oh, look at that little guy. Look how cute. Yeah, he's a male too. Look at how small he is. And he's already showing more than random guy there. That little guy's safe. Oh, look at these two big dudes go at it. All right, let's find something else here. Let's go back to Rosie's pan. See if anything's happening there. No. Let's go back to Tau. Well, that's the highlight one. We don't want that. Come on. Give us something good here. Give us something good. Let's go back to Namibia. Oh, they got new salt licks out. They got new salt licks. They've put new ones out. Find the shark cams. No way. All right. If we can do this. Wonderful. Frying Pan Tower. Yeah, look at that. Just coming on in. Man-eaters all over the place. Mm-hmm. Face only a mother could love. All right. That's enough sharks. Tomorrow night on the show, Diane Tessman is going to join us. We're going to talk time travel and ET contact. Going to get into some serious woo tomorrow night. We appreciate that. Thank you tonight to Thomas, Deb, Derek, Zen2, and Steve for the awesome super chats. Really do appreciate it. And hey, if you're going to our Vegas party on May 19th through 21st at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas, and you want your VIP tickets, remember, you only have until April 1st to pick them up. Contact info@spacedoutradio.com. That email, once again, is info@spacedoutradio.com. Now, I know we have sent out a lot of emails already and haven't got responses back. So check your emails. If you're waiting for one, check your junk mail, see if it's in there, because we need to get a hold of you to confirm that you are coming to the party. We want you all there. Sovereign, who is on Thursday. Thursday night will be Varla Ventura. Then Friday's the round table. So we got a fun final part of this week coming up here. So we'll see you all tomorrow night. Have a good one.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.